Probably too stiff.
Oh. Let's see. This motherfucker like this. All right, let me pull up Zoom real quick. Man, that was crazy. Doge got all the way up to damn near 60, bro.
I seen that.
Oh man, I'm just kicking myself.
I seen that, man. I am
You know how
too.
much I could have had if I would have taken it serious back in the day, but
Man.
it was a meme.
It's funny you say back in the day like it was that long ago.
I know it was like February, but it was such a meme coin. I was like, man, this shit, I'll just get something for fun. Now this shit's like becoming for real, and it's trading like some other penny stocks I'm in. I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm just trying to spread the bread. So like every time I get paid, I'm just dropping some in there.
That's what I was doing today, just trying to
I
make out a
I, I
trade
stopped
plan.
I stopped betting now. I don't even bet no more.
Damn.
Do you have a vehicle?
Cause I just realized I was like, man, all these bets I'm making in the March Madness and these boxing matches and the UFC fights, I'm like, bro, I should just be putting that money into Dogecoin.
Mm. Yeah, I was in there making out a trade plan.
And I'm sitting on that. I don't know if anybody else is doing that, but I suggest you sit on that for a minute.
I am, but what
Cause I think that's the Yahoo to the Google.
it is, but what you do is, and what they're doing is that you just buy something to flip, and that's it. So you have your core that you sit on,
Yeah.
and then you just go in and throw whatever you want at it. Like if it drops down to 30, you go in and buy some for 30, and then play that run up, and then sell whatever you bought when it gets to 40 or 50, and you still have your core
That's gonna keep going.
That's all. And that's why I was kicking myself because it dropped to like 24, 27, and I got greedy. I was like, man, it'll probably go all the way down to 20 back in the teens. It never did, and it should jump back up. It's all time. So it's like accumulating, and then when it runs, get rid of that shit. Yep. We're live. LeBron getting old. All right, Shelton, you good?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
All right. Yep.
Yeah, we got you. You hear us?
Yes.
All right, cool. What's going on, everybody? All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Manny should. Well, I'll let y'all know in a second. This is the place where sports opinions collide. Dead in sports. I'm your host Kenneth B. Inch. Joining me on the show, we got Nikki Duce,
What it do? What it do?
Shelton J.
What's the word, man? How y'all doing?
Good, man.
We good.
And Manny will be joining us soon at some point. So y'all give him some time to get here. But yeah, we back for another show. No FIFO tonight. No B. B was celebrating his birthday.
We had a lot of birthdays this past week.
A lot.
Man.
A lot. So Rod's birthday is coming up.
I thought his birthday was in January. Is that his son?
I think it's his son.
Okay.
Yeah, his is like May 20th, I think.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Anyway, yeah, let's get on the show.
All right. Of course we gotta talk. We appreciate everybody who tuned in for the live draft, the first round recap that we did. That was a lot of fun. I think we should continue to do that. But as you know, after that day, the draft went on for the rest of the weekend. But it's officially in the books. It's over now. We got a lot of grades coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Surprising picks, surprising trades. So, first question I got for y'all is just offer y'all impressions of the draft. If you could do this, what three teams do you feel had the most impressive draft to you?
For me,
yeah.
Go ahead, Nick. I mean, Ken. Oh, Ken. Oh, well, I'll go. For me, it was easy. Well, it wasn't easy because everybody had a good. As you know, this is the one time in the year when every team has hope, no matter what. That's the one reason that everybody tunes into the draft, and that's what makes it special. Is everybody is 0-0 and everybody got a shot at it all. So the best three teams for me in the draft were the Chargers. I think the Chargers addressed most of their needs early, and they got some impact players. They got Slater, which many feel was the steal of the draft, and they got I forgot who the cornerback was. They got that was good. Oh,
Kellen Mond.
No, he said the
no, the
Chargers.
Oh,
corner, yeah, Chargers. What's his name? His dad played for the Falcons. Asante Samuel Jr.
Oh yeah. They did get him.
Yeah, so they did good by addressing a lot of needs. Number two for me was Chicago in jumping up to get uh, Justin Fields. I thought that was a move that they needed to make. I was shocked that they did it because seeing Chicago with a black quarterback, I didn't think I'd see it anytime soon. So, and him being there with that strong defense, that's a good place for him to end up. And third, that you could have went a number of ways with that, but of course I think Jacksonville did pretty good because they addressed the needed running back. Well, not necessarily needed. They had a
It
good
wasn't.
running
I was
back.
about to say need is a strong word because I had what's his name, Robinson, in my fantasy football league last year. And he was
He
eating.
balled out.
Yeah, he
Yeah, he
balled out.
balled out. So I think that's a good 1-2 combination that they got in the backfield to kind of help out Trevor Lawrence. But you could have went a number of ways with that third pick for because a lot of teams got better.
They did. They
So
did. This is
yeah.
actually a pretty well-rounded draft for the most part. Um, my three teams. I'll go into more detail, but my three teams is I would say the Giants, the Bears, and this last one is it's to me it's a tie between Miami and um and the Chargers just because of the fact of like I feel like the Chargers had like the most they were just like they're like the best team that always picks high in the draft for some reason.
mm.
I don't understand how it is, but and they keep on retool. They have like a top 6 roster in the NFL, but they still get players and all that stuff. But I tie with Miami because with the Chargers, I don't know about their head coach just yet. That's my issue. I don't know how these players are gonna develop under this new head coach. With Miami, it's like I don't know how these players are gonna develop with Tua. Like is Tua really the guy to have all this talent around? But my first two choices, I think the Bears are number one as far as most impressive. Getting Justin Fields, who to me was arguably the best quarterback in the draft, to get him at 11. Granted, you had to give up some picks like you did for Trubisky, but at least we know for this time that you have legit talent at QB. I think that was impressive, and I think the haul that the Giants got back, that is impressive to me, not because of the draft cap, the picks itself, but the capital they could use to go get somebody like Aaron Rodgers if a deal can be made. Because I feel like they're the only team with assets to go get Aaron Rodgers. They can offer the Packers legit 3 first-round picks over the next 2 years. I don't think no other team can do that. But yeah, those are my 3 impressive teams. Manny, that's what I was asking everybody. We're going over the NFL draft and doing our recap. What 3 teams stood out to you as far as most impressive after their draft?
um, Homer pick, obviously the Jets. I thought we had a strong first round. Obviously, getting obviously Zach Wilson. Jury's still out. I'm not even gonna sit here and try to wave the pom poms and act like Zach Wilson's gonna be a Hall of Famer. I don't know. I don't think any Jet fan knows. Hopefully he's better than Joe Namath. We shall see. As far as the Elijah Vera Tucker pick, I thought that was a home run pick. Trading up, trading the two third round picks to get a probably the best guard in the draft by most people's estimates. So yeah, that was a good move. And then in day two, going up and getting Elijah Moore, the wide receiver out of Mississippi, out of Ole Miss, was a big time move too. So overall, I thought the Jets had a really strong draft. I didn't love some of the day three picks, especially on the latter half, but the developmental picks. So we'll see. Who knows? I mean, in 5 years, who knows? They probably could have stole a gem from one of those rounds. So who knows? But I thought the Jets had a good round or a good draft. I really like what the Cowboys did, especially the trade back, getting some more picks. Um, I thought that was a smart move, trading back and then still getting probably one of the best, you know, 10, 15 players in the draft. And Michael Parsons, I can't understand why he's down there, whatever, but it is what it is. Um, Looks like they addressed their defense, which was a need. And then I say my third team would be the Browns. I thought the Browns had a really solid draft too, especially
Hmm.
getting the linebacker from Notre Dame. Where they got him in the second round, which was a steal for them. A team that is already great defensively, or at least very good defensively, just got better with that kid. So, yeah, I thought the Browns, Jets, and the Cowboys had really strong drafts, and some other teams also had some really good drafts too. I thought Buffalo getting Russo at the end of the first round was a steal as well. So,
For me, man, Steelers. As I go through the results of the draft, and they just went away. Hold on, but I go Steelers, Jaguars, and Chicago for picking up Fields. Steelers because they really, really needed a running back, and they get Najee Harris. That
Did they need a running back more than offensive line?
yes, they could not run the ball at
Yeah, they
all.
did.
James Conner was like he had one good year, and he was a wrap. The tight end Pat Fremont is pretty good.
Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah.
Yeah, they. I don't know why it is. Every decent to good tight end
Mm-hmm.
coming out of the draft, they're like, oh, that's a baby Gronk, or that's like,
Mm.
that's what they call them and shit. Like,
Yeah, they do that for everybody.
Yeah. Kendrick Green. So that's the offensive line. Um, Quincy Roach, Trey Norwood. So they
Yep.
got some picks here now. Again, some of these guys uh, I know by name from Madden. so, so,
so how they
yeah.
develop under your
Hey,
squad?
so I do agree with you, man. I do think the Jets had a good grade, but let me go to the a good draft. But the reason why I said the Jaguars, I like that they got ETN to pair with what's
Yeah.
his name, Lawrence. I thought that was good, and there was somebody else they picked up. I thought was pretty good too. Oh, Tyson Campbell snatched him up.
Hmm.
He
Walker Little.
dropped. I was surprised he dropped.
Yep, they got an old lineman Walker Little
Me
who
too.
might be all right. Cisco.
Andre Cisco.
Yeah, Andre
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cisco.
he's
I
a
got.
beast. He's a
Yeah,
beast.
yeah, and I don't know if this guy's Jay Tufel. Um, I don't know
Yeah,
much about him, but yeah,
the
but I
tackle
think
from
overall
the tackle from
USC.
yeah,
Yeah, but no,
D
they
tackle.
they had a good draft.
Nick, I know you said the Steelers that they need a running back. I mean, with a young QB or with a veteran QB, you definitely want that presence of the running game, and then getting probably the best running back in the draft. You
I'm just
know,
saying at that spot, like there was still some good offensive linemen, like because they lost the
yeah,
brothers, they lost both of the brothers, and they just lost Villanueva, right, to the Ravens.
but you can find linemen and running backs you can find anywhere in the draft. So I don't think it's imperative, especially at that spot. You know what I'm saying? To necessarily get a job. I mean, I'm with you. Like, I think
Yeah.
ideally, you probably would go with an offensive lineman there, but Najee Harris is sitting there. You got to take him. That's a value pick.
His highlights. He's a dog. He's a dog. I
Yeah,
just don't
no.
know
Yeah.
if he's gonna have that same protection that the Steelers are used to, because obviously, like the best they got was wasted on James Conner. So
Mm-hmm.
now that you don't have that, you losing three of your starters in one offseason. I'm interested to see how this is gonna really show how good he is and how
Yeah,
good they are at retooling.
he ain't gonna have shit to run behind. so,
I trust
And
the
But
Big
yeah,
Ben
but
Steelers.
ain't
it's
gonna
The
help
it's
him.
Steelers,
it's
the Steelers are a good organizational depth team too. So they find guys. There's probably a guy on that line that we're not even talking about that'll turn out to be a damn Pro Bowler. I mean, that's just what the Steelers do.
that's what I was gonna say. That's how Carolina and the Steelers are similar in that fact that they'll find a lineman out of nowhere and make them get up to where they to be up to par.
Ain't nobody say
Absolutely.
what offensive lineman is Carolina really developing like that. But wasn't
Why
it?
Villanueva
don't y'all
came.
let that man flow, man?
What?
Villanueva came from Carolina. Mike Rivers. These were all undrafted free agents. Dennis Daly. All those guys were
They Pro
undrafted.
Bowlers?
They were at some point at least once for a few of those guys. Campbell. I can't think of what
Were they
Campbell.
Pro Bowlers for the
Matt Campbell.
Panthers?
I think. Let me go back and look. I'll get you on that. Yeah.
all he had to do is name drop.
Yeah. He going off their resume. I'm like, nah, what were they
Yeah.
doing with Carolina?
I'm gonna find. Yeah. Oh, we had a strong line, but like I said, most of them were undrafted rookies. So that's what I'm saying. The line is not always imperative. You don't get one of those guys that's been there. That's one of those lifetime starters early.
I
Then the
get
other
you.
stuff you can kind of come back to.
We were talking about the damn Steelers.
I get you on that, but I remember when they drafted Pouncey, those were first round picks. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember because Pouncey came out of Ohio State, I believe.
Yeah.
So I remember when they
No,
were
Florida.
drafting those
No,
guys.
Florida. They came
Usually
out
your
of Florida.
guys like look at Dallas. Dallas, they're when they had that big wall of just men, those are all first round picks, and that took like
But
some years to gather up.
right, but those guys weren't available. Those type of players weren't available where they picked. So where Pittsburgh is picking, you couldn't find a Mike Pouncey. You couldn't find one of those
Right.
guys right there. Those linemen, those type linemen were the earlier ones. Not to say that you can't get a good one in that spot, but the great ones, those solid ones like that, they ain't out there. They
Especially
wasn't
because
out
you,
there.
I mean, if you look at where the Steelers were picking, like to me, the Raiders for Alex Leatherwood, that was a reach. Like
Right.
I think he's going to be a solid lineman, but to pick him there at that spot when everybody had him projected as a second round pick at best, yeah, that to me was reach. So if like the Steelers would have did that, that kind of been a bit of head scratcher. Like to me, for the Steelers to like, let's say they take Alex Leatherwood there, right, which fits a
Mhm.
line need. You taking Alex Leatherwood over Najee Harris? Yeah,
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and there was only three. There was only three surefire linemen in the draft, wasn't it?
Nah,
Wasn't it?
there was a lot that
No,
slipped.
it's a good offensive line draft. It's a good
This
offensive
was
lineman. I
it
mean,
was
they were like so like the quarterbacks, they were like the top tier, and then there's like everybody else. So the top tier was Sewell, Slater, and
Vera Tucker.
Vera Tucker. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's like your top tier. The rest of them were solid, but those were the surefire. Those
Mhm.
are like surefire first rounders.
hmm.
Everybody else you pick according to need.
Well, Manny, you brought up a team that I feel like this question could be addressed to as well. Since we did our three most impressive teams coming out of the drafts of this draft class, what were the three least impressive drafts that you saw from each team?
Least impressive. Redskins, man. I don't really understand what the Redskins were trying to do. I mean, again, it's all a crapshoot. Who knows? But I will say this: I think the Redskins should have been in on the quarterback more than they were. I don't understand why they weren't trying to trade up to get Fields or hell, even Mac Jones. In that situation, especially if he fell to 15 to New England. I don't know why the Redskins weren't in on one of these quarterbacks. Maybe they know something that we don't know, but
Mhm.
they seem really comfortable with having a mix of Ryan Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heineke. I wouldn't, but they do. So I don't really understand what the Redskins were doing there. And even their pick, Jamin Davis, like solid, but mm, to me, to take that kind of guy right there at that spot, you had other guys there. Like if you're to me, I mean, I don't watch that team on an everyday basis, but it feels like they need more offensive. I mean, if you are going to stick with either a Taylor Heineke or a Ryan Fitzpatrick, then you got to get as many offensive weapons as possible. So to me, right there, picking a wide receiver there, picking a running back there, like that would have been a good spot for Najee Harris or Travis Etienne. Um, so yeah, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand the Redskins thinking there. I would say the Redskins. I'm trying to think. The Raiders, I just never understand what the Raiders are doing. Mike Mayock, that dude should literally be fired. Like this nigga literally thinks he's the smartest guy in the room when it comes to the drafts, and then he ends up overthinking himself. Like I just don't get it, man. Leatherwood again in that spot where you basically overdrafted him in that situation. Some of their other picks were a little head scratchers too. Yeah, I don't understand what the Raiders are doing, man. That whole regime just leaves a lot to be desired. And then trying to think of that third team. I say the Giants. I say the Giants.
Why is
Only
that?
only because it kind of feel like the Giants were reactive instead of proactive in that first round. So for instance, when damn, I'm spacing out
The
on his name.
Eagles?
Yeah, when the Eagles traded up in front of him, it just felt like like everybody knew the Cowboys wanted one or the other. They wanted Sertan or they wanted J.C. Horn, right?
Yeah.
And and I'm sure the Giants had to know that the Eagles at least had their eyes on Sertan or Devontae Smith. It just felt like the Giants didn't really have a plan. So once the Cowboys and the Eagles made that trade, and once Denver picked Sertan, it kind of felt like the Giants were like, all right, whatever. Let's just trade down, I guess, and get an extra pick, which is not a bad move, but I don't know. It just kind of felt like to me that was more of a reactionary move than being proactive. Because like to me, if you want your guy, then you go up and get him. You don't let anybody beat you. Like, why don't they call? And I'm sure they did. We're not in these war rooms, right? But why didn't they call Carolina and be like, "Yo, trade back 3 spots. We'll give you an extra first round pick, and you can ensure yourself of getting a Sertan or a Smith or whoever." I don't know. I just kind of felt like that was a little bit of a panic move when they found themselves on 11, and both of their guys are gone. So they just kind of was like, "All right, well, let's trade down."
Well, I do agree that with you that it was reactionary, but that was to me it was like the best reaction that you could have in that draft because again, you didn't get the guy that you wanted. However, when you traded back, you ended up getting somebody that could possibly be the steal in the draft. Because the more I keep on hearing about Kadarius Toney, it's like this kid was like is explosive. They comparing
Yeah,
him to
he's
the.
nice.
Yeah.
You even mentioned it on draft day. Like you was like this kid is
Yeah, he's
nice.
nice.
They saying he's like Percy Harvin. He could be like Tariq Hill once if he gets his route running skills a little bit better. Um, and he's hard to bring down, and he could work in the punt return, the return game. But also, mostly importantly, again, I keep going back to this point. They got a first round pick and a fourth round pick out of that from the Bears. So they going into next year's draft, two first round picks. They could flip that for a quarterback. Like if they wanted to get Russell Wilson out of Seattle, if they want to get Aaron Rodgers to try, they have now draft capital, and they've shown or they've proven last season that they can compete in some games and beat a team like a Seattle, and even almost beat a team like the Tampa Bay Bucks. So all they're really missing is one more year, get some more continuity, and I can see like okay, we can see what they're doing. They're one game away from winning the division. So I do think that it was. I all the more reason to hate the Eagles for them trying to them basically coming in and swooping up Devontae Smith. But
Smart
at the
move.
same time, Devontae Smith for a Heisman winner to fall all the way to 11, 10, or 12, whatever, like to me that says more about like he has to be in a specific system. I am interested in seeing if the Eagles can utilize his skill set the way he's supposed to be. So that could be to me that's a potential bust right there. But um, as far as them trading back in the draft capital they got back and the player that they traded back to get, I think they did a really good job. But I'm obviously biased, so that don't mean shit to
I'm
nobody.
not like I kind of hesitated on the Giants pick. Like I still think it was still a reactionary move. And as far as the quarterback, like you having the draft capital, we don't know what's going to happen with none of these damn quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, is Russell Wilson still trying to be traded? Not traded? Who knows? Um, yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think you can necessarily run your team like that. I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm just saying I don't think you necessarily say, "Oh yeah, let's get as many first round picks" because Aaron Rodgers might become available in 2022. Like I don't think you can necessarily do that. Look, I don't think it was a terrible move, especially because they got Kadarius Toney. I just feel like if you're willing to trade back in that spot, why did you just trade up? I guess that's just my summation there. If you were really in that situation where you were reactionary because one of your guys or two of your guys were gone, then you probably put yourself. To me, I'd rather be aggressive, trade up, and get the guy I want, and make sure that he's there, or at least I get that guy, than to necessarily pull off a reactionary trade because he's not there. I guess that's my we differ on that.
For me, man, I'm gonna go with the Raiders. Just because I think, yeah, I just basically agree with what Manny said. I think John Gruden definitely thinks he's smarter than everybody, and for the last two drafts, he's proven he hasn't been the smartest guy with some of those picks and how they turned out. The Eagles, because I still think it was crazy for them to trade up to get Devontae Smith when they could have gotten somebody else. I just don't think he's going to be that impactful.
That's what I was thinking too.
So nah, yeah, nah. And all 32 teams in the NFL because none of them picked a player from an HBCU. Shout out to Deion Sanders,
I forgot.
prime
Yeah.
time for calling them out, and
Mhm.
I will read what he said. And we have he put it on Instagram, and we have the audacity to hate on one another while our kids are being neglected and rejected. I witnessed a multitude of kids that we played against that were more qualified to be drafted. My prayers are that this won't ever happen again. Get your knife out my back and fight with me, not against me. 259 players were drafted this year, and none were from HBCUs.
Facts.
So the whole
Especially,
NFL, y'all motherfuckers be
especially if you're seeing
pandering
draft picks
like
from like
motherfuckers. Y'all
all
don't
over the place.
believe the shit y'all saying. It's just a bunch of bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah,
agree with that.
absolutely. Yeah, me too. Especially if, like I said, you're seeing players drafted from all over the place. I mean, Trey Lance, where did he go to school? I mean, you can't
That's
tell me, you know, North
yeah,
Dakota State is facing stiffer
Right.
competition in the HBCU at this point. Like, it's got to be relative. It's got to be pretty much comparable at that rate, right? Like, so yeah, I don't. Listen,
Yeah,
we'll be
but
here all
shout
day
out.
having that
Yeah.
conversation.
yeah.
So,
That's
I,
what that's and speaking of that, I
mm,
agree with Manny and you Ken on the Raiders. The Raiders was my number one pick for the same reasons you said, Manny. They always it seems like they're always trying to catch that lightning in the bottle. They want to make that shot pick. Like they're picking like they're picking on a video
they're
game.
picking like that. They're like, see, this is a guy you're not even thinking about, but see, we're gonna
Yeah.
prove you guys that we're right. Like what? Like Alex
It
Leatherwood,
just
and
and
even the
they've done
second
it.
round pick,
And
Trevor Moharic.
right,
Trevor Moharic, like he has a back injury. Like he just had surgery. He just had a discotomy. What 2 months ago?
yeah,
Like I
it's
like the
crazy.
kid, but to pick him right there in the second round, like I don't know, bro.
And
Like
it's been like that since Farrell. They picked Farrell a couple
yeah,
years
Stephen
ago.
Farrell with the fourth pick. Yeah, that was
Yeah, and he wasn't even the fourth best lineman on the team.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it just doesn't make sense to me what they're doing there in Las Vegas. I think I had Washington as well, and surprisingly, I didn't like San Francisco's draft. I thought that
Mm.
although I like Trey Lance and I feel like he may be okay, he wouldn't. I would. There's no way I would pick. I would move up to pick him third over Justin Fields. There's just not a reason to do that for me. Justin Fields has proved it time and time again that he deserves. He's played in the big moments. He's done these things. Um, Lance hadn't even thrown, but how many stars did he have in his whole career?
I think
12, I think, right? 12 or
17
13.
maybe.
Yeah, something. It was a small amount. It was just very small sample
He's
size.
only started 1 year. One
Right,
year, and then 2020 was the one game because
right.
the season was
1 year, one game. So he had a very small sample size in a very um, weak against weak competition.
Mhm.
So in saying that, it's kind of tough to put him up so high, and hopefully it's a gamble that pays off for him. But it would have been tough for me to move up to take that pick. If I'm going to move up, I'm not going to move up to third to take him. It would have been to move up to take Justin. But
And if
you
you're
know,
moving up to the top three pick, like if you're moving up as far up as they went, and it still seemed like even when they traded up, they didn't even know which guy they were taking. Like they were still indecisiveness in the building as to who they
right,
were taking. Some people in that building love Mac Jones. Some people in that building love Trey Lance. Um, to me, if I'm trading from 12 to 3, I know who I'm taking, or at
right.
least I have a very good idea of who I'm taking. They
Mm-hmm.
just basically traded up, and I have my issues with the 49ers. If y'all let me go off on my tangent later, I will, because I feel like it's time we start calling out Kyle Shanahan on being overrated.
Mm.
That's just
Yeah,
me.
But yeah,
for me, I would say, but the number one for me, of course we could say the Raiders. We could even say who else was it? I gotta think of the other team, but the one that sticks out to me is Denver. Denver getting Patrick Surtain over Justin Fields makes no sense to me. Makes
correct.
absolutely no sense to me. I don't know we keep on bringing up Justin Fields names, but it's the audacity that these franchises have by just letting them be on the board when they need a QB.
Mm-hmm.
And John Elway, I guess, only seems to care about guys that are future Hall of Famers that he don't really have to explain to the media and let them take the hit as far as why he's maybe trying to make certain moves to get them. But if Justin Fields is right there and you're a quarterback, wait, why are you getting a corner? Like,
because he
granted, he's
got
the
Teddy
best corner
Bridgewater.
he maybe have been the best corner in the draft, but that's not gonna win you games. You know what I mean? Like that, especially in a division with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and granted Derek Carr, but he's still a good quality QB. Like you need to put
Right.
points on the board.
Mm-hmm.
You need a QB that can be dynamic. You need a QB that proves that you know what the fuck you doing as a GM. Like I don't know. I just to me that Patrick Surtain at number 9, I was like, oh yeah, they really don't give a fuck about this guy. Like they really
Right.
just gonna let this motherfucker slip.
And the only thing I could think of is like I said, in Denver, the only thing I could think of that they're doing is maybe hoping to get Rodgers or something happen. I was thinking something that for some of those teams because I was trying to figure even Carolina for example, like what's the thought process? Is it we're gonna sit here and wait on Houston to fall out of favor with Watson and we're gonna pick him up? What is the thought process to some of those? Washington, the same thing. What are you thinking about quarterback wise? Like, are you thinking like you're gonna get something else? Is there something else brewing that we don't know about? That's the only thing I can think of for some of these teams
I think sometimes
passing
we
up.
assume. I think sometimes
Well, the
we assume
Panthers
that
didn't
these
need a
teams
QB.
think about these quarterbacks the way we do, right? Like maybe Washington just didn't like Justin Fields, like, and that's their right. Now time will tell whether they're right or wrong. Maybe
Mhm.
Denver just was like, "Yo, we think Drew Lock and Chetty Bridgewater is better than Justin Fields and Mac Jones." I don't think that, but maybe they do. Now we'll see. Time will tell if they're right or not. Yeah, I think sometimes we just assume that, oh well, we think we would do this. These damn NFL teams and these GMs would do it, and as we've seen, a lot of these dudes just don't think like we do, and vice versa. So,
But we see that they make mistakes count time and time again. Like
but
we
they
even go
don't
back
know
to
that they're
recent
mistakes in the
drafts.
moment. Like there was a moment in time where there were some people that thought taking Blake Bortles at 3 was a pretty decent idea.
I didn't.
Only they
Yeah,
did.
you didn't, but I'm saying there was somebody that like anybody can convince themselves to think anything is a good idea in the moment. Now,
Mhm.
again, time will tell whether that is a good idea or not.
But the,
Isn't that video of the Eagles getting into it in the draft room about something? I think he said
Oh, I
he
didn't
got
see
mad
that.
because they traded
Where?
back. Yeah, it was, let me see if I can find it.
but my thing is
So
like
somebody know that somebody fucking up.
exactly somebody's in this room like, bro, y'all gotta be sick. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Patrick Surtain over Justin Fields. Like, who has more impact on their team? Over Justin Fields might have made the Bears a legit Super Bowl contender by just being drafted.
Mhm. Right, and that's the thing too. With that, I think about like we think about the economic side of it. Like a cornerback is not going to make that much box office difference because you got owners in that room that just want to see, like we talk about all the time, they want to see the profit on the bottom line. Bringing in a guy that's going to sell some jerseys, a face of the franchise, that means more than filling a solid spot. So the only logical thinking behind that to me is you already got wind that Aaron Rodgers wants out, and maybe we got a shot at Aaron Rodgers. Let's go ahead and work this out. But that's the only thing I could think of. There's no reason to think
I-
otherwise.
I'll give y'all another team, Minnesota. Like Minnesota was right there. Why didn't they trade up to try to get a Justin Fields? Like I think Minnesota is in a situation where they should be looking. There's rumors that they wanted Justin Fields if he had fallen. There ain't no if. Like
Mhm.
if
I
But
agree
see,
Justin
the
with
thing,
Fields
that.
is even like within
well,
5 picks of me, like
I
I
agree
gotta
with
go
that.
up and get him.
the only reason I didn't mention Minnesota, and I agree with you, it would make sense for them to do, is the fact that they're stuck with Kirk Cousins for the next 2 years. His salary cap hit. There's no way to get out of him. So what they did was they drafted a quarterback in the second round that may take a little bit more development with a high upside that could kind of get them over the hump after he's done. But other than that, there's no way
But
to get
again, you could
around
have
it.
done the same thing with Justin Fields, and I get what you're saying from the financial aspect of it. But
Mm-hmm.
my thing is, who do you rather? If you ask any Vikings fan, who do you rather have, Justin Fields or Kellen Mond? Like,
Right. And like I said, I agree with you on that. But who did they draft with their
and I,
first
and
pick?
I and I always feel like the contract stuff is always a little bit overblown anyway, because as we've seen, teams can trade you if they want to. Like, who would have thought Matthew Stafford in that contract could have been traded? And guess what? They figured it out, right? Like these
But you see
GMs can
what
figure out stuff.
teams traded for him though. It's always those big market teams. And Shelton, I think it was the off the left tackle Christian. Um,
They're solid, yes.
yeah, I think that's what they got first round, which isn't a
Mm-hmm.
bad pick. But I don't mind the Kellen Mond pick. I don't mind that at all. I think Minnesota was kind of just like, let's just see who falls to us, and then we'll react from there. Because
Right.
I do agree with Sean. I think the Vikings and the Falcons are on the same page as far as we owe these old white men too much money to be trying to rebuild right now, because that will fuck. We'll be having one foot in and one foot out, pretty much. Which is why
The only,
Mm-hmm.
the only disagreements I have with Minnesota is I feel like just like Jimmy, just like San Francisco with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, let's say you make it known that you have Kirk Cousins or Jimmy Garoppolo available. The league is so bereft of good quarterbacks, yo, that like you literally make a Kirk Cousins available, and all the issues that all of us have with Kirk Cousins, there will be teams lining up to trade for Kirk Cousins in a heartbeat. Like they will be.
Howie Roseman said, "We've made mistakes forcing picks and forcing positions." So they
Who
know
said
they
that?
be fucking up, man.
Who said that?
Howie Roseman of the Eagles. So they
Oh,
know. It's somebody.
I know.
Somebody
Yeah.
know. They know
I
when they
mean,
be
yo,
fucking up.
the draft is a crapshoot. I keep saying it. Like, yo, none of
But
us know. We're
yeah,
sitting here.
it's a.
But you
But
can't.
here's the
But you're
thing, Manny.
paid.
It's a crapshoot if
But you're
you
paid
take
to
the
know.
guy you want. But if
That's
you
it.
force a pick, you're just doubling down on the
That is true.
crapshoot.
And
That is true. But
what I
even
was
if
gonna say. That's what I was gonna
go
say,
ahead.
man. That what you're saying when you say that every time you say it, because you said it several times, it's 110% true. But you're paid to know. That's your job. Your job is to know. You got to be a fortune teller. Otherwise, you're not
It's
gonna have a
easier
job.
said than done, Shelton. How many
No,
times
it's
have you
not.
seen it? Nah, for real, it
That's
is.
why.
It's easier said
No,
than
it's
done, bro.
not.
Because
No,
like,
it's
how many?
not. That's why you pay GMs. That's why you pay managers. As a manager
I agree
of,
with you.
let's just say a manager of a Fortune 500 company, for example, his job is to put people in place that make sense. Now, do you know if that person doesn't work out? Technically, no. But your job is to put yourself in the
You're
best
right.
position for success. You don't go in there saying, "I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to pick." You don't think
Yeah,
about it that way.
you
So,
make the
in
best
saying that,
selections based on the resume. I
right?
completely understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
people like I just feel like a lot of times we overestimate that. Yo, this shit is a crapshoot. Like even Trevor Lawrence, the consensus number one pick.
Mhm.
This dude can walk into OTA, break his leg in 6 places, and it's never the same again. Like
Shel-
that has happened. That can happen. I know I'm being hyperbolic, but it can happen.
Oh, it
Like,
definitely can.
Shelton,
is that the
Shelton,
GM's fault that Trevor Lawrence landed wrong and broke his leg? Like these things happen. Like we don't
Shelton.
know. A couple
Yeah.
years ago, Jared Goff and
Hold on.
Carson Wentz were picked 1 and 2. They're both on the second teams now. Like we just don't know.
I'm
We
a
don't know.
This nigga bad as hell.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say this, Shelton. The reason why Manny is saying what he's saying because he's a Jets fan.
That's
Every
right.
draft is a damn crapshoot for the Jets.
Yeah, you damn right, bro. Listen,
That's right.
hey, while you bullshitting, you are absolutely 100% right on that.
And that is true. But yeah, you're paid to know. That's what
Yeah,
that's why they're in them positions, man.
because
That's the
I agree with you, Shelton, because I'm just like the Bengals have like the smallest scout team in the NBA in an NFL. Yet we have more Pro Bowlers than the Jets, I believe. I don't think the Jets had any Pro Bowlers.
Listen, a high school team has more Pro Bowlers than the Jets. That's not saying
I'm,
much.
I'm only no, I'm only saying that comparison not to really shit on the
Right.
Jets,
No,
but
no,
to
I
say
get it. No,
that
I get
if
what
the
you're saying.
Bengals can scout, everybody can scout. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like
Yeah.
that's my only thing. You can at least get two motherfuckers. Granted, it's 7 rounds.
Yeah.
You probably only want to get 3 legit NFL players in every draft. Everybody
Yeah,
else is gonna be off the
absolutely.
team in 5 years
If
or less.
if you get three legit players in the NFL draft, you're lucky.
Exactly.
Right.
But
Yeah.
my thing
No,
is
I'm not
like,
saying y'all wrong. I'm just saying that sometimes I feel like we just assume like we have the luxury of looking at it in real time and then also having hindsight, right? So like in hindsight, why would the Buccaneers take Jameis Winston, knowing that he would turn out the way he turned out? Like, of course, but we didn't know that then. You know what I'm saying? Or we didn't know that Carson Wentz was going to be injury prone. Or we didn't know that Jared Goff was going to be afraid to throw the ball deep. Like, we just didn't know these things. So in the moment, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, we just don't know how this stuff is going to turn out, man. These situations, there's players. We talked about it on Thursday. It's like a lot of times we put these kids that are 21, 22 in some cases, in these billion-dollar organizations, like, here, go perform. Like Trey Lance has a lot of pressure. This is a kid that is essentially
I think he
started
has
what
the least amount of pressure out of all the quarterbacks
I think
drafted.
he has the most pressure.
Mm-mm.
Oh, Trey Lance?
Trey Lance?
No,
Mm-mm.
Trey Lance doesn't have a lot because unless they get rid of Garoppolo, he has to start because most people are not expecting him to start the first year.
He's
But
the
that's not
only
what I'm
QB
saying.
that got drafted that does not have to start like in the first round that does not have to start day one.
Okay,
Everybody
so
else
what
is
if he
starting day
but what
one.
if he starts next year and he's not as good as Jimmy Garoppolo? Now you have fans saying, okay, we traded up 9 spots, traded up multiple first round picks to get a guy who can't play.
What do you define as not as good as Jimmy Garoppolo?
Doesn't take us to a Super Bowl, isn't a borderline Pro Bowler. Like that is a possibility. I'm not saying
But
it's going to happen, but I'm just saying that is a possibility.
But even with that happening, though, man, it's still kind of not pressure because you've had a year to kind of get adjusted, and the fact that you're kind of forgotten at that point in some cases. So even if they get
I
on
don't
you,
buy that.
you're still a better man. And I would rather that pressure than to start from day one in the NFL. They no greater pressure than that.
Who got
There's
no
no
more?
greater
You're a
pressure.
top 10 pick. You're a top 10 pick in an
It don't
NFL
matter.
draft, and as
If you're
a quarterback,
if you're a top 10 pick that gets to sit at home, I mean, gets to sit on
And
the
he,
sidelines and watch for a year,
here's why he has more pressure because he's going to a ready-made team, arguably. Like he's going to a team already there that's on the cusp of winning a Super Bowl. Zach Wilson, I'm not just saying that Zach Wilson. I'm just saying Zach Wilson has pressure because he's the number 2 overall pick, and you traded a guy who people think is going to still be a great quarterback. So he has pressure. But I'm saying Zach Wilson's going to a terrible team, quote unquote. So he doesn't have that pressure of necessarily going in there and from day one being successful. Trey Lance, again, if he starts, I'm not saying this coming season, I'm talking about 2022 and beyond. If he goes out there and he's not as good, even if he has a Jalen Hurts type start where it's kind of uneven, some games he's good, some games he's bad, like a lot of people are going to be sitting there like, yo, we traded up 9 spots to get
I'm
this
gonna let
dude.
you know this right now, Manny. Trey Lance is in the best position because he got the least amount of pressure. Your boy Zach Wilson, even Justin Fields are in more high pressure position because these motherfuckers want to see results now. Chicago's like,
today.
we got this. We had a top 10 defense, top 5 defense for the last 3 to 5 years,
And the
and we ain't
49ers
done
don't.
shit with it. And the Jets have been like, we have been
But
dealing with a damn a teenager at quarterback for the last that still gets mono over the age of 18, and we haven't
correct.
seen shit from that. Zach
So
Wilson
if they
better be
don't
that.
see,
Zach
and see
Wilson,
that's the thing.
no
That's
one's
the
brought up
thing.
the
So
fact that Zach Wilson, no one scouted this motherfucker. They just said, oh, this nigga's from BYU and he going to the Jets. And everybody just was like, all right, cool, bet. No, so we gonna
I wouldn't
see
say
what
nobody
that look
scouted
like.
him, but I'm just saying like,
right. So what happens is if he goes in there and he doesn't immediately play as good as Sam Darnold, he's already out in people's brains. So that's what
but
I'm saying. That's why
I'm
the
not
pressure's
arguing
there.
with y'all.
Ain't
I'm
nobody
not
saying, well, we expect them to lose anyway. Nah, you taking the place of a loser. What I'm
right.
saying is, if I get to sit for a year
Take
and
the place
watch,
of losing.
it don't matter. I mean, it
That's a
matters
new
what
one.
I do, but it's no pressure because all I got to do is sit here and learn from this guy and watch this team play. I'm in the best position. He's
You
in the
and Nick,
best position.
you
He
and
has
Nick
a
are not
veteran
wrong.
in front of him, so there's no pressure immediately. The pressure comes when you're drafted high and all eyes are on you that first game. The second game, they're looking at the next year's draft picks. They're worried about them. They'll still care about you, but not as much as they would if you were starting day one. Day one starters, those are the ones with the pressure. Ask Patty Mahomes.
But you could sit for a year and still be trash. So
Oh,
this
you
idea
definitely,
that
oh, you
like
definitely
this
can.
idea that like oh
You,
Trey Lance
it's
sits for
not,
a
it's
year
not that he's gonna be
and
good
then
because he's sitting. It's that he gets to sit without the pressure of having to play. That's
I
the
still think he
difference.
has pressure. I
Oh
still think
yeah,
he has a lot of pressure. And
yeah.
that's
No,
my
no, no,
my
no.
basic
See,
argument is all these quarterbacks have pressure. Some to a varying degree over others, but I think all of them to act like Trey Lance just has he could just walk in there and be garbage next year
No one said he
is
got to be
no,
garbage,
no,
but
no.
he
You
ain't
know,
got.
you
No
said he
one's
had the
thinking about
most
Trey
pressure.
Lance in
You
2020
said he
in
had the
this upcoming
most.
season. No one's really thinking about Trey Lance. We got so
Yeah,
much other shit to think about because he
yeah.
But
ain't
here's
even
the
gonna
other
You
here's
said
start.
the
he
other
had the
thing about
most
it.
pressure,
Jimmy
Manny.
Garoppolo, but here's the other thing about it. Jimmy Garoppolo can sneeze and ends up on the IL for 10 damn weeks. And now you're putting this kid again who has not played college football in essentially a year. Here you go. Lead a Super Bowl contending team
But see,
to the
that's
promised
where
land. Like
but see if he didn't start the year, that's where it goes to. It's kind of like, okay, we expect him to not be where he's supposed to be right now
nah,
because he
I
was
don't buy
supposed to
that one.
That's the
sit.
thing.
Usually
That's
they
the
Now you
don't
thing
buy
that
got
they
that
did
when
with
he's
that's the reason why he's not starting.
That's the thing they
If
did
that's the case, he's gonna start.
with Justin Herbert last year. Justin Herbert last year. If it wasn't for Tyrod Taylor, if it wasn't for the
Right,
Chargers trying to fuck up Tyrod Taylor, we won't even know what Justin Herbert is. We had no
right.
expectation for who the fuck he. We thought he was reach
Mm-hmm.
at where they
Yeah,
picked him.
yes. And he didn't play great those first couple games. That's what I'm saying. He didn't have the pressure to play great. Now, once he started turning it on, everybody was watching and cheering, or you know what I'm saying, like, oh, they was championing him, but he didn't have the pressure to play immediately that the other guys had. He didn't have that pressure. Joe Burrow had pressure. He had to play the first day. He had to play that first snap. So you can't tell me that Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow felt the same pressures because they didn't. It wasn't the same.
Let
Well,
You know
let's
what I'm
like
let's
you
saying?
feel
Herbert had pressure because he didn't want that black man to get back on the field.
let's let's transition a little bit.
And we got a couple super chats real quick.
Okay.
This one, Manny, we're gonna need you on this one. Manish Gundar says, couple baseball questions. Appreciate you, Manish. Appreciate y'all for the super chats as always. Thoughts on the Padres and Tatis. Thoughts on Shohei Otani. Cheers. Cheers to you too, Manish.
cheers. Thank you for the message. I don't know thoughts pertaining to what? Just them in general or
Yeah, he didn't say what. I guess um
I mean Tatis, I mean, yo,
he's burning up, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically like the LeBron of baseball right now. At least when LeBron was 2022, I'm scared as hell of every time I see him swing the bat. I'm just nervous because he's got that shoulder injury where it
Mm.
keeps popping in and out. That he needs eventually he needs surgery. So they're trying to manage it without surgery right now. So every time he swings, I'm just like, damn, dude. But I mean, the dude he's legit. He's legit the face of baseball, man, right now, or at least one of them. Trout is so damn boring, so you can't really market Trout, but this dude is. He's on the cover of the show. I mean, he's in San Diego. San Diego's a glamour team right now, so
Mm.
yeah. As far as you said, Shohei, man. I got questions about him, man. That two-way shit, I don't know how sustainable that is, man. Especially starting and then also being a prodigious power hitter. I just don't know how sustainable it is over 162. It's cool, it's fun to look at, but it's a reason why it hasn't been done in 100 years because I just don't
Mm.
know
And he
how
hasn't held
sustainable
up
it is over
either.
the course of
He's been hurt.
162.
He's hurt every year. You know,
Yeah, that's another
what
thing.
about
And
Vlad Jr.? He was balling, right? How's he doing this
yeah,
year?
well, hitters in general are struggling right now, man. I think there's a lot
Okay.
of pieces being written that hitters right now are struggling. I think
I
the
saw
pitching
that.
is way ahead of the hitting right now. I mean Lindor has been horrible for the Mets so far.
Yeah, I wanted to
I think
ask you
as the
about
weather
that.
heats up around the country, you start getting into June, July. I think you start seeing the balls flying again and all that. But yeah, right now hitters are way behind. I haven't even checked Vlad's stats to be honest, but I know that he lost a bunch of weight, and I know that he's still struggling defensively at first. His natural position was the third baseman, but eventually they're just gonna have to put him at DH because I don't think he can really manage first or third base for a long period of time. I
Yeah,
think
it seems
eventually you're
like
just gonna see him as a
baseball got a
DH.
lot of young stars and names that people just kind of are being attracted to, like Tatis and Vlad Jr. Um, I just saw Dustin May had surgery. I'm trying to think of
Yeah,
another guy that's
Tommy
really
John.
popular too.
Judge.
Well, yeah, I'm talking younger
Oh,
guys.
younger than that.
Yeah, people kind of overjudge.
Yeah,
Yeah, he kind
Bellinger
of
was kind of one for a
similar.
minute,
yeah.
but
Baseball's always
he's
got
been
that good
around for a
crop of
while.
young talent coming in. I think that's I don't want to say it's different than other sports. It's like baseball always has that steady stream of young talent coming in. It's just marketing them. Like again,
Mm-hmm.
Tatis should be on every damn poster in America if you're a baseball
Hmm.
exec. Like, I want this kid on every damn poster, every damn commercial, every damn everything, right? Like, he's
Yeah.
bilingual. He's Hispanic and he speaks English very well, which is a plus in my opinion. Like, because a lot of times when you see a lot of Latino players, like their English is their second language, it's either broken English or it's you could tell it's with an accent. Nah, he clearly speaks English. It's well. He's actually practiced it and actually has gotten better with it. So yeah, man, the sky's the limit for the dude. Like I said, if he could just manage the injury as far as his shoulder, because eventually he's gonna need surgery on it because it keeps popping out. So that muscle's loose in there. So every time he swings or the backswing, it just causes that shoulder to pop out. So far he's been good since he came back from the DL, but we'll see. And then Shohei, man, I just don't know if the two-way thing can last for 162. But it's fun to see. It's fun to see.
Any other super chat?
Acuna Jr. That was the
Yeah.
other one. Yeah,
Oh yeah, Cunha is
Acuna.
on another
Yeah,
level, man.
yeah. That's the other
That's
one.
what I was
I knew
going
it
to
was
ask you
somebody
about. I
else.
was going to ask you whether you take Acuna over Tatis, Manny.
I would.
Mm.
I
Me
would.
too.
Acuna is legit, bro.
Yeah.
Like he's
I
legit.
was I was thinking so too. I was just thinking what is he going to get paid when his payday comes up?
Well, he
The
signed an
Braves won't. You know
extension
what they
because
do with
remember
all
you
their
got
black
arbitration
talent?
in
They ship
baseball.
them off.
Yeah,
Nah,
yeah, they do.
Atlanta signed him to a very friendly team contract, like 7 years, 100 million, I think.
Dang.
They'll trade him.
Because remember they bought out some of his arbitration years. Because in baseball you have arbitration, so they
Right.
bought like 3 or 4 years of arbitration. Bought off his like first 2 or 3 years of free agency. So Atlanta's getting him at what 20 million a year, which is a steal because he could easily make 400 million easily.
Right. So let me ask you one last baseball question. We move on. Is it
That's what's
too
up, man.
early?
Dead End Sports got some baseball questions. That's what's
Yes,
up.
sir. Yes, sir. You think it's too early to say that Lindor's situation was like is a failure?
No, no, it's way too early. I mean, what he's played 25 games into his first season with the Mets. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
look, he's struggling really bad. I'm starting to get concerned because the at bats are just like he's not even having good at bats. Like it's one thing to struggle, especially in baseball. If you're struggling, your numbers aren't where you're at, but you're at least giving you a good at bat. every game. You're hitting the ball hard, but Lindor is just like he's up there flailing at pitches. Like it just looks really bad.
That contract
I'm not
ran him
ready to
down.
I'm not ready to pull the panic button yet. What's that?
The money weighing them down.
Yeah, man, it's hard to swing with all
Nah,
that
but
money.
for real, I mean, yo, this dude, he signed a $341 million contract. Like, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to go in there. Like these cats, yo, they signed that contract and they think they got to go up there in the first game, hit a 9-run home run. Like, bro, chill out.
Yeah.
Like, still do what you're doing. Like, ain't nothing changed. You got to still trust the process. I hate that term because it's overused now, but you still got to trust that process. You still got to keep doing what you're doing, do the things that got you there.
Right.
But I'm not concerned about Lindor. At the end of the day, you're gonna turn around. You're gonna see the numbers still be there.
Cool. Let me see what else we got. We got Kalen McCoy. Hey man, appreciate you always, partner, for stepping up with us. Kalen said it's almost time for Elway to go. He's bad with QBs.
That's why they didn't take one. He was like, man, I ain't fucking this one. I ain't fucking this one up. I just won't take one.
I would think they would get him some help, maybe change his position or something like that.
They did. He's got a GM. He's not the GM anymore. He's now he's just basically overseeing everything. So they hired a GM. The first year GM is in now. So technically that was his.
Let me call him something else. They need to take that away too.
That's they call him the overseer.
The overseer.
Yeah, he's a liaison.
He's liaison. Yeah.
But yeah, they won't fire him.
Nah, he is the Broncos, man. They're not. Elway's gonna leave when Elway wants to leave. I mean, he is that franchise. The best thing they could do is like Shelton said, which is what they did. They hired a GM, so hopefully that GM knows what the hell he's doing. So far, jury's still out because he picks Sertan.
Jury's out as fuck. Unless they get A-Rod, is out as fuck. And that's like my last question to y'all as far as the NFL that we're covering.
We got one more super chat too.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We them boys asked, and this for you too, Nick. Is next season Daniel Jones make or break year?
Unfortunately, yes, it is. I say unfortunate because like he got drafted. Now he second year he played in a pandemic, and now his third year is when he has to get tested. I don't know. I see the talent in him, but at the same time,
wavering. Come on, man.
I'm talking about a legend right now, so it's hard for me to get these words out.
A legend. Oh my God.
I see the talent in him, but I can't stand on the mountaintop with no facts.
So like you breaking up with a girl. It's not you, it's me.
It's not you, it's me. It's not you, Daniel.
I love Daniel Jones.
I think the thing is though, I think he's gonna have a breakout year. As biased as that sounds, I think, and by breakout year, I mean he's gonna have less than 15 picks or turnovers in general.
That's a breakout year.
That's a breakout year for me. Because when he don't turn the ball, obviously, like most QBs, when he don't turn the ball over, he's a really good, competent QB. It ain't like he's stupid. It's just like I don't know. I feel like the game is still a little sped up for him. But I think this season he's gonna prove himself, whether he's gonna be a bust or he's gonna be that breakout star. But I'm betting on the breakout.
I've never
Get you somebody that has as much faith in you as Nick has in Danny Jones, man, for real. That man just said a breakout year is under 15 interceptions. So to be 14 is a breakout year.
Like, Daniel Jones
you got some low.
He just said, if he just doesn't turn the ball over, he's actually okay. That's like saying a pitcher. If he doesn't just give up 5 home runs, he's actually a pretty decent pitcher.
Daniel Jones, he had 1-2 good games.
Tampa, the comeback against Tampa. That
and
man is living off that comeback.
With him. The media loved him. They gave him a nickname and everything. And he ain't been shit since.
Man, I ain't gonna say he ain't been shit since. That's disrespect. They almost won the division last year. Like they were literally
shitty division.
And why did they lose?
Yeah, man.
They lost because they wasn't in it.
They almost won it because of him, and they lost it because of him.
Facts.
Yeah.
No, he was hurt, wasn't he? And then they started
he was hurt.
Games.
They had Colt McCoy starting for a while.
Colt McCoy.
That's what I'm saying. We haven't really seen a full legit season.
And we wanted to stick with Colt McCoy over him after he got healthy. So that should tell you everything.
They only did that because of the Seattle game. It was that Seattle game, and that was mostly the defense.
I was gonna ask you who won that Seattle game. Was it him or Colt McCoy?
Colt McCoy won them that game.
Oh, okay.
Man, Russell Wilson was high off Sierra that day.
Mm.
That's the only reason they won that game.
My last question to y'all for the NFL: should Aaron Rodgers force his way out of Green Bay? Is that a smart
No.
decision?
No.
No.
I just don't understand this whole Aaron Rodgers situation. Like I don't I mean, there's something else that's not being talked about, like, because I just don't get it. First of all, this idea, like, can we talk about this narrative that Aaron Rodgers doesn't have enough help? Like, where did this come from? Like, he's got Devontae Adams, which is probably a top 3.
Keep going down the list. I want to see how many fingers you get as far as this help.
Devontae Adams. He's
Okay.
got arguably 3 good running backs in
Yes.
Aaron Jones,
I
Jamal.
agree.
If you got 3 good running backs, you ain't got a running back.
Man, get out of here. You know,
Come
Aaron
on.
Jones is a
It's
Pro
only
Bowl
Aaron
running
Jones.
back.
It's only Aaron Jones. Let's be
Aaron
let's
It
be
really
Jones,
is only.
that
It's
AJ
only Aaron
Dillon
Jones.
kid is coming.
Huh?
Dillon is a beast too.
He ain't
He
there
ain't
yet.
here yet. He a little
Okay,
monster.
whatever.
He ain't a beast.
He's got a good offensive line.
You said a good offensive line.
He's
What was
got
that?
a really
He's
good.
Hey,
got a-
Manny,
he's got
Manny,
a-
what did
he's
that
got a
offensive?
top
What did
like
that
two Pro
what
Bowlers,
did that
offensive
offensive line
line.
do to the title games? Back-to-back title games. What did that offensive line do? Did San
No, what did
Francisco
Aaron
not beat the
Rodgers
shit
do
out of
in
that
two
offensive
back-to-back
line?
No. Here's a question for you. What did Aaron Rodgers do in 2 back-to-back games in the AFC Championship game?
So you
Can
talking
we
about the
talk about that?
MVP? You talking about MVP?
Yeah, the MVP that in 3 straight drives off of turnovers scored no points. That MVP. That MVP that got killed in San Francisco 2 years ago. The same MVP that didn't play well in Seattle. That MVP. The same MVP that let Eli Manning walk into his building when he was 15-1, and Eli Manning and the Giants beat him. A 9-7 Giants team.
That was a Super Bowl.
MVP.
That was a
I'm
Super
just
Bowl
so
winning team.
tired of Aaron Rodgers, and I love Aaron Rodgers. It kills me to do this, but Aaron Rodgers blames everybody else. You ever notice that it's always everybody else's fault with Aaron Rodgers? You ever notice that?
My question to you: out of everybody who deserves criticism on the Green Bay Packers, you're putting it mostly on Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Not
Yes.
not the GM who
What did
drafted.
the GM
Hold on.
draft so bro? You can't blame LaFleur. The only thing you can blame LaFleur was his call on 4th and whatever. Like kicking the field goal that was stupid. That's the only thing that you can.
I
If you
said-
want to kill LaFleur for,
I said the
kill him for
GM. I said the
That's what I-
GM.
What
The
I
What
feel-
are you
talent-
killing the GM for?
Why
What
are
are
you
you killing
drafting
the
Jordan
GM for?
Love? Why are you drafting Jordan Love when if you got a Super Bowl MVP and you're going and you just came back off of an
The
NFC
same
title game?
reason the Packers in 2005 drafted Aaron Rodgers when you had Brett Favre coming off a career year. The same year. The same concept.
No,
It sound like
that's not the
bro.
same.
It sound like you
That's
really
not the same,
you
man.
trying to save these Packers.
Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers in college were on 2 different levels.
There was a lot of people that thought Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be good in the NFL.
Come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do revision. Don't do revisionist history. Aaron Rodgers was in the. He was sitting there like Mac Jones.
Revisionist history. Here we go with this revisionist history. We're looking at it from 2021 lenses. I remember that 2005 draft. There was a lot of people that had question marks about Aaron Rodgers. His throw motion. Remember his.
That's
throw
why he
motion?
dropped.
Exactly. That's
Nah.
why
He came. He was going into that draft saying that he may go number 1. They thought he was going to be a top 5 pick.
They sure did.
So
Why
don't
did he
act.
drop?
No one thought Jordan Love was going to be a top 5 pick.
Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the concept in which you draft a Jordan.
Your
Love. I
audio's
don't think
acting
Jordan
funny. We
Love is
can't
any
even
good.
hear you because you saying so much bullshit.
Let me go on record. I don't think Jordan Love is ever going to be anything close to Aaron Rodgers. The point that I'm trying to make is you just said why would you do that? It's the same notion that you would do that. They have a Aaron Rodgers who's always been hurt and is 36. They got to start thinking about the next quarterback. Now, I wouldn't do that, but I can't blame them for thinking that. Like, I can't blame them for thinking that. Just like they did a decade prior.
Mike, Manny, something going on with your mic.
Manny,
Yeah, your audio.
your audio's going real low.
You hear me now?
No,
It's
it's like
still low.
it's like a noise compressor or something on it. It's probably a bullshit filter.
No, I was thinking he
How about now? Can you hear me now?
is still kind of low.
Yeah, maybe try to unplug it and plug it back in or something like that, or turn it off, turn it back on.
I was thinking he probably should stand pat because that's his best chance of winning. I don't know where else he could go and do better than where he is now, if that makes sense. he has this team on the cusp. They were one play, you know, away from moving on, and you know they could have won. They could have won the whole thing and been fine doing it as well. I just think he's in the best place for himself. I don't think he has a team that he can go to, a la Tom Brady, and make it championship level team. You know what I'm saying? I think that if he goes to, say he does go to Denver, if he goes to Denver, they're still a couple years away from being where he would be if he stayed in Green Bay, I would think. So that's the only reason I think he should stay. Now, should he be upset with them? Yeah, they done treated him bad this whole time. But you stayed through this long. He should have been wanting out last year.
Now, my thing is, I think Denver is the only spot. Denver, maybe New York, are the only other spots where like you could probably see, especially if he goes to New York, because that division is crappy anyway. So he at least can guarantee a playoff spot with that. Him going to the AFC West, that's gonna be great to see as far as him and Patty go get at it twice a year. But that's going to be another obstacle you got to get through to get to a Super Bowl. But for me, I think he should leave Green Bay. I think Green Bay, like Manny said, has told him, like, look, we see you going out of the door more than being inside with us. So let's go get another QB and then we'll see what happens. Now, to me, it's just like, all right, if you plan on trying to get another QB to do a rebuild and move on from Aaron Rodgers, then that means that you're ready to move on. So don't keep me around and don't act like you want me now, and don't have people like Manny try to cape for me and try to act like we surrounded Aaron Rodgers with the best talent possible when they haven't.
I
They
never
free
said
agent
that.
class is always shitty. They ain't spending no bread. The players that they got are decent at best. At best, they're
Decent at
decent.
best, huh? Okay.
Decent at best. Outside of Devontae Adams, there's nobody else I really care for on the Packers. Honestly.
I like Aaron Jones. I
Aaron
thought
Jones
Aaron
is
Jones.
fine, but he is not one of the best running backs in the league, in my opinion. At least not
Okay.
consistently.
He
Devontae
was a
Adams
Pro
is one of
Bowler
the
last
best
year.
wide receivers, probably the
Rushed for like
best.
1,400 yards last year, and he was a Pro
Okay.
Bowler.
I saw DeMarco Murray do some shit like that too. So that's just me.
Okay.
But
Okay. So who is again? My question is this narrative that's out there, because that's what it is. It's a narrative that Aaron Rodgers is playing with the '07 Cavs, the football edition. It's just ludicrous to me. Like, again, they're 26-5 in 2 years with Matt LaFleur as the coach. They got to 2 straight AFC Championship games, one that they absolutely should have won. Again, I'm just missing to find where is the disconnect. Like, this idea that Aaron Rodgers is 7-9 back-to-back years playing with mediocre talent. Like, I just don't see it. Like, where is it? Like,
it is
again,
mediocre. It is mediocre talent because he's developed most of those players himself. Him being the player that he is, he helped develop. He helped Devontae Adams be the receiver
Tom
that he
Brady
is
won
now.
Super Bowls with less talent than Aaron Rodgers has right now.
Tom Brady was in a system that won Super Bowls
Oh,
that
okay.
didn't.
So now,
That
so it was a
Tom Brady was
system
in a
now. Okay,
system.
got it.
Tom Brady was in a system that won him Super Bowls where he didn't have to perform to the levels that Aaron Rodgers has to, pretty much to get
Oh,
them
okay.
as far as he does. Like those
Oh,
first 3
okay,
Super
got it.
Bowls was a very defensive team with the
Well, I'm not
Pats.
talking about now. I'm talking about recently. I'm talking
Recently,
about
Tom Brady was
recently.
on a. You talking about the Bucks?
No, not the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks. I mean, we can't even
Yeah.
compare that. I'm just saying on the Patriots recently, he's won championships with less talent than Aaron Rodgers.
First of all, he's in a different conference. AFC is different than
I don't
NFC as
care
far as
what
competition.
they still playing football, right?
They playing football, but it's 2 different type. It's a different. There's only like 2, 3 teams that you got to worry about in the AFC, if that. There's about 5 of them in the NFC that you got
Okay.
to run through. That's why Tom Brady had that whole parade about him being the greatest athlete of all time because he ran through Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patty Mahomes. Like you got to go through some motherfuckers to get there. In the
Okay.
AFC, Patty had to go through Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen. Like, come
So
on.
name
Like,
me what. So name me the quarterbacks that have better rosters to work with than Aaron Rodgers.
obviously Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'll even say the Seattle does. I would say
Okay. But somehow Russell Wilson can't get that team out of the wild card. But hey, I digress.
hey, that's a Russell Wilson question. We talking about Aaron Rodgers right now. Put me on the spot.
Minnesota.
Minnesota definitely.
Well, because they got the 2 receivers and Dalvin Cook,
Yeah, they got that, and they got some defensive players too.
and
The
they still missed the playoffs.
The Colts, The
The Colts, a
Mm,
better roster.
better roster overall. You talking about top to bottom?
Just on offense. I'm not even considering defense. I'm
I was talking
just on
about.
offense.
I thought I was talking about overall roster.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's my fault. An offensive roster better than
Offensive
Aaron
roster.
Rodgers.
Oh, the Chargers
I'm with you. I'm with you on the Bucks and the Vikings.
and Seattle.
Seattle's offensive line is shitty, but go off. I'll be nice and give you that one.
I'm about to say shit. The Green Bay ain't got no. They ain't got the motherfucking
They got
Wall of
two
Steel.
Pro Bowlers on the line, but somehow they got a shitty offensive line.
I didn't say they shitty. I just say they ain't that great. They ain't got the best offensive line in the game. But the Cowboys. Who else? Yeah, that's about 6, 7 teams right there.
All those teams that you listed outside of Seattle missed the playoffs last year. Like again, listen.
So
There's
what is
no
your
taking
point?
away-
If you're so are you
My point.
so your
Go
point is that the roster without a QB is not a playoff team, right?
My point is that we make too much. There's a narrative out there that Aaron Rodgers is basically playing with you, Ken, me, and Shelton out there. Like, no, he's playing with talented players. Okay,
He makes
is it
them
more
better,
talented
Manny.
than the Vikings? Is it more talented than Seattle? No, but that's not the reason that they haven't won the last couple years. I just don't buy into that. Again, this man had the ball off of 2 straight interceptions and turnovers and scored no points. That's not because they didn't have a scat back running back. Well,
better.
My thing,
And I
man.
think one of those guys ran a wrong route or dropped the ball. Or
My
something like that.
thing is that, man, I do agree with you. He did not show up in that one specific game. But I'm telling you, they're not even sniffing an NFC title game without this man.
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
teams, the
facts.
teams
Nobody's
that the
arguing
point the point that you made that I felt like was my point is that you can have a decent roster, but without that QB, they ain't doing shit.
And
the
the
teams
Bucks
that-
had more talent than Rodgers.
Bucks have more talent than everybody.
Mm-hmm.
yes,
And they still needed Tom Brady to be in there. The Cowboys, granted that got hurt. You couldn't just place anybody in there and you think, oh, this team is gonna go great.
That's why quarterbacks make $40 million. I'm not arguing that. Your general point. I'm not arguing with. I whole take your point and run with it. Like, oh, poor Aaron Rodgers. He's basically playing with the $72 or the $76. Like what? Like, yo,
I'm not
this
saying
dude
the team is
playing
that
with talent.
shitty. I'm just saying they're not that good without him. They're not that good. They are
But
a
you can
top.
say that about a lot of teams. Look at that
It's
Patriots.
different.
Look at
We
the
saw
Patriots
that
team
team
that
without
beat
Aaron
the
Rodgers.
Falcons. Look at the Patriots team that beat the Falcons. Were they that good without Tom Brady?
The Chiefs were pretty good without Patrick Mahomes when he sat down. They still won games.
That's what I'm saying. My point is that Aaron Rodgers, he could force his way out. I don't know where he'll land, but right now Green Bay is. They've already shown that they'll really they ready to move on.
They stopped giving a fuck about Aaron Rodgers a couple of years ago.
Exactly. Once
So,
they realize like, oh, you ain't got us into another Super Bowl since the last decade. All right, we cool on you.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Rodgers wants to get out of Green Bay because I think he's looking at his post-career life. I think Aaron Rodgers, you're already starting to hear the things. He wants to host Jeopardy. He's dating a Hollywood actress. Like, I feel like he's starting to line up his post-career life, and he's looking at it like, yo, I ain't gonna fucking host Jeopardy or do the shit that I want to do living in fucking Green Bay, Wisconsin. Like, but my thing is just say that. To sit here and say, oh, the line sucks or the receivers aren't that good or I don't like the GM. Like, what? Like, you're 26-5 in 2 years and you've gotten to 2 straight AFC championship games. Like, again, what is the issue? And he's not even, and that's the thing. He's not even saying what's the issue. What is the issue? The issue is what? Jordan Love being drafted? Like, if you're Aaron Rodgers and you're sweating Jordan Love,
It ain't about Jordan Love.
He said the GM. He didn't like the GM.
It ain't about Jordan
the
Love.
rumor is that he don't like the GM.
I think it is that's what it is. I think the Jordan Love thing was a slap in the face because they didn't get him help. They got his replacement instead of getting him help.
Exactly.
And it's been rumored for years. You know, they always drafted defense first. And it was always like they were, instead of taking his opinion and taking like, what do you think we need to help you to take that next level? They would do other things every single time as if to say, you're not in charge, we are. And that's what I thought it was. And that's how I felt about it. And that's probably, to me, that's what I felt like his issue was.
So Aaron Rodgers needs to be picking players now too.
I mean, he needs his
Works for
input.
LeBron.
You saw what Russell Williams. Russell Wilson said. Russell Wilson said that he should have some input in player decisions, and
There's
I don't
input
see a
and then
problem
there's
with it.
picking players.
Yeah,
Like we can sit
input.
down and be like, yo, I really like this dude. Or you see the highlight of this cat? Like I think this is somebody we should, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, yeah, of course, every great player should have some. Like I agree. I think there should be some collaboration. Like you got one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks on your roster. Like, yeah, I'm gonna ask him what you think of this wide receiver, what you think of this lineman, what you think of this
Right.
running back. Hell, what you think of this defensive back? Like anything. Yeah, of course. That's input. You know what I'm saying? I feel like these guys want to like, oh yeah, draft my man so and so from Clemson. He good. Like what?
It ain't like
you don't
that.
get paid to do that job.
It ain't
See,
like
I
that.
don't even think they gave him input. I don't think they even considered asking him any of the times because he's always been disappointed in these picks. And that's
so it's just the
knowledge.
roster construction then. So he don't like the GM because of the roster construction.
I would think so. I mean, I'm not saying that's the only reason, but I know that would be a reason. It seems like they try to they kind of go at it. And
so then why did you resign there 3 years ago?
You take the money. When do you ever take?
What you mean? Again, what is okay? So you take the money, even though you can't stand it there. You don't arguably debatable. You don't like LaFleur. You don't like the GM. Why are you resigning them? Aaron Rodgers could go anywhere, literally anywhere. Any team would make room for Aaron Rodgers. Any team would give Aaron Rodgers $40 million.
You take the money. Just because you take the money don't mean the GM don't have to do his job. That's my whole point.
Okay, but if you're that miserable in this has been an issue. This has been an ongoing discussion in Green Bay for years. This didn't just start last week. Like this has been brewing for years. So again, you just re-signed a contract 2.5, 3 years ago. So there wasn't problems when you re-signed the contract. So you liked the GM when you was signing the contract, but now 3 years after the fact, now you don't like the GM. That's what I'm confused at.
I think he actually loves the franchise. He just don't really like the GM, and the GM is fucking up his career to the point where he's like, look,
fucking up his career again. Y'all are acting like this man is 7-9. And
Manny, let me ask you one question.
In the top 10 in the draft.
We gotta move on to the NBA. But before we do that, man, let me ask you one question. Has the Green Bay Packers done everything they can to help Aaron Rodgers win?
No.
What's everything they can?
I just asked.
Define that.
Have they made moves like free agent moves, draft moves, anything to increase the star power or the caliber of the roster? Have they done everything they can in that aspect?
Probably not.
Like you said, they have legit one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks of all time. Yet they will not do those things. They will not move heaven and earth.
The free agency stuff is a little overblown because Green Bay has never been a free agency destination anyway. The only person I can remember is maybe Woodson and Wayne and Reggie White signing free agent deals to go to Green Bay.
And I'll tell you this.
Outside of that, I don't remember.
I'll tell you this, Manny. Cleveland ain't no damn destination either. But the GM for the Browns, they got Odell Beckham. They made some moves happen.
Via trade.
That's making a move. They gave up some draft capital to get Odell. I have not seen Green Bay do any of that.
What has Cleveland done with Odell? What has Cleveland done with Odell on the roster?
Let's not act like Baker is the same as Aaron Rodgers. As far as like if you gave one of them.
My question was, what has Cleveland done with Odell on the roster?
They made the playoffs.
Don't count last year because he didn't play last year.
He was on the roster.
Outside of 3 or 4 games.
That's not what you said. You asked when they was on the roster. He was on the roster last year.
When Odell Beckham has been healthy and playing, what has Cleveland done?
We have not
outside
seen
of
Odell,
making the playoffs last year.
We have not seen Odell healthy for a full season just yet, so we don't know. We can see that this season.
But that's not the point. The point is that they went out and made a move to acquire superstar talent. You're talking about the results of that acquisition. But what I hear Nick saying is that they at least attempted and went out and made an acquisition. The Packers are not doing that.
But y'all are not telling me what else does this man need? Again, like they were 26-5 in 2 years and got to 2 straight AFC championship
backs
games.
Of Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, but you can say that about any great quarterback. It's always going to be off the back of a great quarterback.
No. Aaron Rodgers ain't any great quarterback, Manny. Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks. Come on.
Tom Brady needed help.
Give me a player or a move. Okay, Ken. All right, I'm willing to go. I'm willing to meet you there. Give me a move that the Packers make in the last 2 years that helps them beat San Francisco or Tampa?
I can't tell you that because they
Oh,
haven't.
I can get how about the legit number 2 receiver? How about somebody
Who's that
that's
guy?
equal to
Robert Woods?
like if you look at the Bucks,
Brandon
right? Who
Cooks?
do they got? Who they got? They got
Chris
Mike Evans
Godwin,
and Chris Godwin.
and they
Give
got
Rogers somebody. Give Rogers a legit threat opposite of Devontae Adams.
at least AB. Go get AB was out there for a whole off season. The Bucks just
You know
re-signed him
damn
because
well
like
Green Bay
shit. If
was
you
not
don't
going
want
to
him,
go
we'll
out there and
take him
get that
back.
damn psychopath. You know damn well Green Bay was not going to go get that psychopath.
He was out there though.
You know that. So it's not even worth
I'm just
even
saying-
discussing that because you know
And
Green Bay was
he'd
gonna
have
do that.
got frostbite.
Fact.
He played in Pittsburgh.
and he would have been ashy.
I'm
Ashy
not
and
saying
angry.
again. I know we got to move on. I'll close with this. I'm not saying y'all are wrong. I am not saying that Green Bay is basically rolled out there the 67 Packers. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying, but it's going to the extreme on the other end, like acting like Aaron Rodgers is basically playing out there with the 2020 Jets. Like it's not. Like the dude has talent. Okay, we could argue he needs a better number 2 receiver, or we could argue that he probably needs another corner or two. We could argue those things. Yes, there needs to be improvements. But to sit here and say, oh yeah, that team is trash. They went 7-9. They barely were afloat, even with Aaron Rodgers. Like, oh, he needs to get out of there so he can save his career. What?
I'm gonna let you know this right now, Manny. That team to me is like remember when LeBron before he left for Miami, they won like 60 something games, and then afterwards they were the first overall pick. That's what's gonna happen if they start Jordan Love and they let Aaron Rodgers go.
Yep.
It's gonna be the same shit.
Because,
and I'm gonna come back here and talk to
that's
your
because
ass
I
and be
don't think
like,
Jordan Love,
where was these
and
niggas
that's
you was
because
talking
I think
about?
Jordan Love is not that good.
So you think he's not?
I don't think he's that good. No.
I don't either. But
But this isn't a discussion about Jordan Love's talent. Like, yes, I get drafting Jordan Love to replace him eventually down the line. Yeah, I could see that pissing off Rodgers as far as his ego, especially if he's like, yo, we could have used another pick. I don't mind that. I'm just saying that this idea that like, yo, he's got nothing to work with in Green Bay. And again, my argument for that is the AFC Championship game last year. He didn't play well, especially in the second half. He didn't play well. If he plays even average, they win that game. Do you guys agree or not?
that's just a bad argument.
Yeah, I agree with you that
How
he
is it a
didn't play.
bad argument? The argument is he doesn't
Manny,
have talent to win a championship,
Manny,
yet he didn't play well in the championship game. If had he played even average, they would have gotten to a championship.
Manny, my
They
thing
would
is
have gotten to a
about
Super Bowl.
is context with that season. Like, granted, I agree with you. He did not play well in that game. However, they are not sniffing the playoffs without that man. I'm not even talking about the talent level of Jordan Love.
Yes.
I'm just saying Aaron Rodgers is that so above pretty much outside of one other quarterback as far as talent and competency that Jordan Love is below here. Like he's at the fucking floor. So there's no reason for me to even question.
That's not what we're
Here's the
discussing.
thing. So
That's not.
if
You're arguing
Aaron
two different
Rodgers
things.
and you're in Green Bay, you see what the fuck Jordan Love doing, and you're probably looking at everybody that could have been picked after Jordan Love that could have helped you, that in a way that Jordan Love hasn't helped. Then you look at it, they be like, "This is some bullshit."
And they traded up to get him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So come on, man. That's just
But
regardless
we having
of
three different arguments, though. That's what I want y'all to
No. My
understand. Like, we're
argument is
having-
that my argument is this: Aaron Rodgers should ask to get off of Green Bay, or should try to force his way out because Green Bay has shown that Aaron Rodgers is not a priority to them.
yeah, they
So
don't-
where's he
And
going to go?
but-
That's
and
gonna
it's
give him-
crazy that they have shown him that because without him, they would have not seen as much success as they have already. And granted, we've been nitpicking at him as far as his resume since that 2010 season or that Super Bowl season. However, he's still one of the top 5 greatest quarterbacks of all time. And on top of that,
Facts.
you just don't treat your franchise quarterback like that, especially if he's done nothing but push you to greatness, or at least try to. Granted, again, he had a bad AFC title game. However, there's a lot of shit that led up to that.
You know the irony in all of this is that he's literally mad about the same thing that he did 13 years prior to Brett Favre. That's just the irony of all of this.
You lose them how you got them. It's the same way.
yeah.
That's
We got,
true.
we got a super chat from Woo Young. I don't understand it though. Appreciate you, Woo. Anyway, the Pats team that beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl was number one was the number one defense in the NFL. Maybe it was something we were talking about at the time. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying that Pats team without Tom Brady, what was that Pat like? So
Oh.
Nick's point was Aaron Rodgers the success of the Packers is on the back of Aaron Rodgers, was just like, yeah, of course, duh. That's like saying the success of the 49ers in the 80s was off the back of Jerry Rice and Joe Montana. Like, of course, that's why they are those guys. So what I said was that Pats team that beat the Falcons, that came back from the 28-3. Sorry, Kyle. Um, that team, like outside of Brady and maybe Edelman, like what was that team? Nothing. That team was a nothing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to the NBA since we got Manny here. Of course, we got to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, specifically with LeBron James and his recent comments. Speaking of backtracking, his recent comments on the play-in tournament are pretty interesting. All right, go ahead, put your hat on, your safety hat on, because we're gonna ask you some hard-hitting questions. Does it make sense for LeBron to have an issue with the play-in tournament, even though he asked for it last year?
I mean, LeBron talking out of both
Wait,
sides
he
of his
asked for
mouth
that shit
isn't
last
exactly
year?
a surprise, but
Damn.
Yes, he did.
yeah, I mean, LeBron talks out of both sides of his mouth when it comes to this stuff anyway. So I don't know why anybody acts surprised. Like, what do you expect them to say? Like, I don't understand what his big issue is now with it. Like, especially if you advocated for it last year. I guess his issue for it now is that the Lakers might find themselves in a position where they have to be in a playing game. So he's not happy about it.
Yep.
So it's kind of false and disingenuous on LeBron's part, but it is what it is. What do you want me to say? LeBron's points are valid. I don't like the playing game. To me, it just kind of rewards mediocrity. I just don't really like the playing game. Like, to me, it's a bandage on a situation that's affecting the NBA. Like, I don't know what the playing tournament or game or whatever, what that necessarily does. To me, it should be 1 through 16, but that's another argument for another day. Having a playing game where the Kings and the Warriors are battling out to see who gets slaughtered by Phoenix is not appealing to me. So I just don't understand what the point of the playing game. But that's another argument for another day. So as LeBron's comments, man, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. So you should kill him for that because he's being phony about it.
Somebody should have been like, "Hey man, but you don't remember what you said last year?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Nobody said
He's
that?
being.
They posting that clip
I forgot
now.
that he even said that. Now that I think about it, yeah, you're right because I forgot he said that.
The only reason I would say no, he shouldn't be killed for it is because last year he met in the bubble. I think that he when he said it last year, it was a different circumstance. You know, I saw where the games were uneven and something like that last year, and the bubble made sense to have a play in because it kind of gave everybody a shot because you didn't have an even number of games going into it, so it kind of made sense to do it that way. This year, I don't know if he said it this year or what he said about it. I hadn't heard him say anything about it until now, but I'm sure him, like you and Ken and others in this chat, who I tried to tell y'all these boys were gonna be in this bubble. And they were going. I mean, in this play-in, and y'all didn't want to.
Shelton had a Shelton.
Trying to tell you.
Nah, Shelton. We seen that. I knew you had that post in your draft inbox, ready to say it on Dead Air Sports Reddit thread. Talking about some. I told y'all niggas that you was sat back. You came on here last week talking about some shit. Hey, look, you know what I'm saying? I was just predicting shit.
I told y'all. Nope.
Hold on, Shelton. What did you say, Shelton?
The Lakers. This team, the squad without their main contributors were not good enough, and they were going to be in the play-in. You adamantly, along with Manny, denied the fact that they were going to be in the play-in.
Okay,
they're still technically not in the playing game. Though.
They're
no.
They're
Wait,
not
Manny,
yet,
hold on.
but you're acting like it's not a possibility. Y'all told me it wasn't even a chance.
Okay, right. Without their main guys, right? That was the crux of the discussion, right?
Yeah, and LeBron is out.
All right, LeBron and AD. And what Manny and I said was all they had to do was tread water, correct?
Yeah.
How many games have they lost? They lost 6 of 8, right? Mm-hmm. They lost 4 with AD, and they turned around and lost 2 with LeBron. Maybe I'm wrong, but that means their guys came back. So they started losing games with their guys back. We were talking about can they hold the line until they came back.
Said
not what happens after they come back. That's different, Shelton.
See, your words were there was no chance for them to be there. And LeBron has been out. LeBron played those 2 games. He set out the second half of that other game. AD is clearly not back. But we're where I told you they would be. I told you we were going to be in this position.
Said that without their main guys. You just repeated what you said, bro.
I said that it was going to be I said no. What I said was they're not going to be good enough. These guys aren't good enough to do it without those guys being at full strength. I said that they were going to be,
but they were
in
good
this
enough.
position.
And my point was the
not.
Lakers just had to tread water until LeBron and AD got back, and they would avoid that playing game situation. And so far, they've still avoided that because right now they're still the 5th seed, barely hanging on by a thread. But
they're the 6th seed.
Still,
But
they're the 5th
Manny,
seed. Technically, they're the 5th seed still.
They're losing the games with LeBron and AD back.
They're the 6th seed right now.
That wasn't what we. That wasn't even. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just asked him what he said, and he just said it.
He did.
And now he's trying to switch it up again.
No.
You always do this, Shelton.
Listen. You said that there was no chance they would be in this position. That's what you said.
We were discussing. That was
Is
within the.
I said
that was within the context of the conversation of them without their guys.
I said they're going to be in the play-in. That's what I said.
You said without LeBron.
You said they're not.
You know what? I can't do it. I can't.
We're gonna go back and we're gonna go back and watch it.
I can't.
I said they're gonna be in the play-in. Y'all said there's
Sheldon, you said they was gonna be in the play-in regardless if they were gonna be healthy or hurt, they was gonna be in the play.
I said that they're not gonna be. Their thing was they needed to tread water. That's what they were trying to say. But there's no chance for them to be in the play-in. All they have to do is tread water, and they won't be in the play-in. I said no. I said these guys aren't strong enough. They're going to be in the play-in. That's what I said. I still stand by that. I still think they're going to be in the play-in.
What am I not comprehending?
You said there's no chance for them to be in.
I'm so confused right now.
What part?
Manny,
what part?
The part that I think Ken is saying is that him and Manny, I believe, were on the point of if LeBron and AD are hurt, I think they can possibly tread water until they get back. However, once they get back, that's a whole different conversation because now you're just talking about the Lakers and they're forecasting their future schedule. When they were out and hurt, they were like the schedule was kind of decent enough. They could still be 500 and avoid that.
Yeah. And that Manny legit argued that. He went back and forth with Shelton more than I did. Mm-hmm. And he started even pointing out winnable games that they could win. Now,
once again.
Yeah.
And they're the 5 seed. They're a half game up on the Mavericks.
The fact remains that they are in a fight to stay out of the play-in, like I told you they would be. I told you where they would be. You didn't want to listen.
No, Shelton. No, you're lying. Shelton, you're lying.
You did not want to listen about that either. You were wrong.
No, you're leaving out key context of you trying to be right.
What part?
The part.
They not.
If the season ends today, they're not going to be in the playing game.
Are they not one game out of the play-in? Out of the 3 teams, which has the hardest schedule?
Look, at the end of the day,
LeBron just go down again.
The games they are losing are with LeBron and AD back. The supporting cast did their jobs for 20 games to keep them afloat in the playoffs. These are just
if you keep them afloat in the playoffs. You said keep them out of the play-in. I said they were going to be in the play-in.
They did their job, though, Shelton.
Your point is,
Shelton, they did their job. They lost 4 of those games when AD came back, and then they lost 2 when they were fully forced.
And one of them, AD only played like 20 minutes, so you can't even really count that game.
Correct. They're in the play-in. That's what I said. Thank you, man. That was my point.
But no, they're not in the
8 games they lost when their guys came back.
They're one game.
You sound absolutely crazy right now.
They're one game ahead of Portland in the play-in. You said there was no chance.
I was absolutely correct.
You're making even more of an argument for me.
And I was
because
absolutely
these guys
correct.
Are back and they're losing.
And I was absolutely correct. People in the chat even saying you're wrong.
In the play-in. You said they wouldn't be in the play-in.
Because that conversation, you're not changing this. That conversation was about what they could do without LeBron and AD. Was it or was it not? Was it or was it not?
The chat said the same thing. They said they wouldn't be in the play-in. I told you they would, and here we are.
What? Oh, you didn't answer my question. Was it or was it not?
The Lakers' remaining schedule, just if you're curious, the Clippers, Trailblazers, Suns, Knicks, Rockets, Pacers, Pelicans.
And LeBron's gonna miss 2 more games. He's out.
He out till the weekend. Probably, I think.
Yeah, he's out until Friday. But what they do right now don't mean shit.
Schroeder's out for 2 weeks? I think he got COVID probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is, basically the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of people in this chat who wrong as hell, just like y'all,
Does he
said that
not
they
like?
wasn't going to be able
Did
to
he
play, and they
forget
had
this
a
He's
stuff is
different
basking
recorded?
he's basking in all this. Look at him.
Here we are.
There's nothing to
Yes, I'm
bask in,
asking
Manny.
because y'all are wrong, like
There's
always.
legit nothing to bask in here at
You're
Is it?
right.
all.
I agree.
Like
Because they're
Yeah,
I
still
don't even
they're still
understand
not
this.
in the playing game.
Shell,
yeah,
but
they are right now.
Manny,
They are right now.
Even if they fall into play-in, they fell with LeBron and AD back. That video, that whole conversation had nothing to do with what they do with LeBron and AD coming back.
Man, listen, they're gonna be
He
in the
know he's
play-in.
wrong.
Just keep watching.
He's know
They're gonna be
he's
in the
wrong
play-in.
here.
He
They're
ain't
gonna be in the
gonna
play-in, like I
take
He's
this
told you
just
L.
mad
before.
because he's wrong
He ain't gonna
that
take
There's
this
no
L.
they
chance.
held
There's no chance
serve.
they'll be in the play-in. Well, first off, they came back before the play-ins even started. So how could I have said that they're gonna be in the play-in because of? They are because of them. Regardless, they're gonna be in the play-in.
No,
That's just
what?
it.
Huh? What? That's a lot of words that,
That's just
and
it.
none of it
He
kind of
basically
went
saying that he
together.
was gonna be right regardless if they was hurt
Right,
or healthy.
right.
They was gonna be in the
Healthy. I
play.
told you they'd be in the play-in. Y'all said there was no chance they would fall that far. That's what you said. That's what you said.
We just said,
Here
and we
we
said it
are.
multiple times, even while they were out, that they, like, I remember even coming back on the program, was like, hey, man, they treading water. They're hanging in there.
They did say that.
They
Here
hanging
we
in there.
are.
They just got to hold on until LeBron and AD came back. LeBron and AD came back, and they just started fucking up. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you why. Because that Lakers team thought that once LeBron and AD came back, that they were just going to hop on their back and carry them along the way. They were like, hey, we done our job. AD, you back? Carry us to the promised land. Oh, shit, LeBron back too? Carry us to the promised land. And
Right.
that's what happened. And that's why they played a little bit more spirited last night. They had a little bit more energy. Caruso, I like Caruso, but Lord knows, my God, he should not be playing over THT. Did you watch that game last night, Manny?
I did. I did.
Did you see how they fell apart when Caruso came back in the game for the
Yeah,
last?
yeah, yeah.
Oh
No, I
my
agree. I agree.
God.
I think THT should be playing over Caruso, especially while LeBron is out, or you're still having this shuffling of the lineups or whatever. Because I think THT gives you a little bit more consistency and a little bit more playmaking abilities than Caruso. Caruso's defense is top notch, and his effort and
Yeah.
energy and all that. But yeah, I know I agree with you. I think THT. No, I saw that game. I was in and out of that game, but I saw the fourth quarter. I agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah, I watched the
Caruso.
second half and they went on a little run and yeah, THT was balling, man.
Look,
I
I
fuck
think
with him. I fuck with him.
Yeah, THT. I think both of them are useful pieces on a championship team. I think both of them bring something to the team. My thing with the Lakers, man, I just think that I think even myself, I'm a victim of this. I think we all just expected AD was going to come back and that's it. He's ready to go. I think he still needs to work his way back from a conditioning standpoint. Work his way back into playing. I thought he looked better last. I thought last night was probably the best he's looked physically since he's been back. Um, and even LeBron, I hope LeBron didn't rush back. Like I hope he just
I
didn't,
think he
you
did.
know, maybe he probably should have just stayed out to the end of the regular season. And I kind of have a suspicion he's probably going to stay out for the rest of the regular season. Maybe he might come back like the last 2 or 3 games, maybe. But at this point, man, the Lakers, like I said it back, 20 games ago or whatever, whenever that was, last month sometime or in February. The Lakers need LeBron and AD healthy and ready to go for the playoffs. I don't care what they do these next 9 games, 8 games. Like it doesn't matter to me. They just need these dudes healthy and ready to go for the playoffs. Whether they're the 5th seed, whether they're the damn 7th, 8th seed, Shelton, wherever they are in the standings, they need these guys right. So yeah, I hope that LeBron takes these 2 games and gets himself right. I hope he didn't rush back. You're getting conflicting reports as far as like they're saying there's no injury issue. It was just general soreness, so they just want him to take his time back. Who knows? Yeah, they just need those 2 guys. Hell, not even 100% because I don't think they're going to be 100%, but at least 80%, 80, 85%.
Yeah, LeBron said
Still
he's
more
not going
afraid
to
of.
be
I'm more afraid of AD's injury though, because he keeps having to stretch that leg on the sideline. He's getting a lot more attention from the training staff than normal, and that's still scary because I still think back to how Kevin Durant's injury when it came about. That's a scary thought. So watching
Yeah.
him stretch on the sidelines, that's not a good look, and I hate that at this time because this should be the most exciting time of the year when you're getting the best basketball. I wanted to see a healthy Golden State team. These Utah and the Phoenix Suns playing at top level with the youth and talent that they have. A strong, full-fledged Laker team. You got the Clippers coming back doing what they do. All these teams got stronger and better. I was looking forward to just this huge playoff, where every team was competitive. That was what I was hoping for, but it's not looking good right now. We got two super chats too. One from We Them Boys. Appreciate you. He said Braun has excuses. I will never be 100% ever again.
Yeah, he said that.
That is what he said. And yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
is it?
I mean, he ain't
Is
lying,
it
but
an
at the same
excuse or
time,
is it a
damn, nigga,
fact?
you ain't gotta say
Like
that
I was
shit.
gonna say
be 100.
that's-
You'll never be 100% again. Like you played 20 damn seasons in the NBA. Like I don't think you'll
It's
ever
a
be.
setup. Like if he wins the
Mhm.
title, people can pull that out and be like,
I mean,
"Oh, look
sure,
at
yeah,
LeBron. He
people
wasn't
can use that.
100%. Yeah, he won a title."
The LeBron sycophants out there will use that. See, he said he was at
Yep.
100%, and he still won. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
that's all
We
it
all know.
is. He
We
know
all
what
know
he's
that.
doing.
Do I think he did that for that reason? No, I think he was just
I do.
in a moment. Nah, in a
I
moment
do.
of honesty, I think he just said like, "Yo, I don't think I'll ever be
Man,
100%."
LeBron be fooling y'all, man.
Boy,
Yeah.
that,
You
that
know I
man,
can't stand
that
LeBron,
man
so
is
he don't be
that
fooling
man is
me.
that man is the greatest of all time at controlling the narrative.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a
He is
as
the
a
master.
professional athlete since day one, since he
Yep.
was 15 years old, that man, I can't knock that. That's one
Yeah.
of the things I respect about him. He ain't gonna let
Correct.
you tell no story about him.
I mean, he got his own damn media company, so that should tell.
Hey, he the reason why he got that tub of lard on ESPN on the jump. What's that white man's name? That from his high school and shit. That would cover his.
Windhorse.
Yeah, he got his
Yeah.
fat ass on ESPN, man, just to control his narrative.
Yep.
Come
Yep.
on, man.
Propaganda, man.
What was I about to say?
we got another super chat too
okay.
from Tigolo. Tigolo, what's up? Where the chump FIFO at? Man, FIFO is always on some island somewhere.
Nah, yeah. Island as
I
far as
need
his
FIFO.
room.
I need FIFO's job, man. Shit. FIFO, hook it up.
Yeah,
Nah,
FIFO on the
FIFO-
world
FIFO
tour.
chilling.
Damn, what was I
Nah,
about to say? It was about the
yeah,
Lakers.
could it be labeled as an excuse? Yeah, I'll be consistent with that.
So-
yeah.
so I wanna-
it's narrative.
I want to shout out Q because he is right. I mean, we all have said this multiple times. I mean, in the playoffs, AD has shown a different side, but he was a little bit soft when he came back. And to you,
This year,
huh?
Nah, he cute talking about his whole career, but
He's
yeah,
talking about his whole career, but it kind of highlighted when he was talking about getting his win and stuff like that. It's like, bro, you kind of making excuses. Like, get your stuff together. So and I said all that to say that he did look a little bit better, a little bit more energetic last night. But it's just like those 4 games, you can't make excuses because you came back and you basically let this team lose 4 in a row on your watch. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like one, I'll give you
but he's
3 of those. Come on, bro. Like that's why LeBron had to come back. He was like, man, what the fuck are you doing? Like, but yeah. Milwaukee.
And what are y'all? Let me ask y'all a question too about
Mhm.
the Lakers. What do y'all think about Drummond's play? They talking about it in chat too, and I'm going to ask y'all that too. What do you think of Drummond's play so far as a Laker?
Irrelevant until the playoffs.
Well, Gasol was a better matchup last night and worked
Mhm.
because Gasol was. I mean, Jokic was just killing fucking Drummond, but he's never been that much of a defender.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be just the more talented Dwight Howard, JaVale
Yeah.
McGee guy that they can use in certain situations against Jokic, guys like that, which is not a lot. That's when you'll get the big white guy, and handle and use him.
If he going against like the Blazers, yeah, he'll definitely eat on that.
Yeah, Drummond. I still like Drummond. I think he's gonna fit in well. That's why I think that they do need to play, and I think that's why a series would be beneficial to the Lakers more than whatever these 2 games is. I actually didn't even know the playing games were what seeds were they? I thought they were
7 through 10.
I thought they were like 9 through 10 or something
Nah,
like
it's 7
that.
through 10. I think like
7 through 10.
the 7th and 8th seed play and the 9th and 10th seed play some goofy shit where like if the 8th seed wins and they get something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was the
It's
9th
goofy
ninth
shit.
and
You
10th
said it. You
seed.
said it best. It's
Yeah,
goofy shit.
it is. It is. I would, like I said, I wouldn't mind if it had been just 8th and 9th playing for the last spot. To me, that would have made more sense.
I don't think this should be a playing game. You got 82
I
games.
do.
You got
I like
82
the
games.
playing game.
It's gonna be a playing game.
I like the playing game. It's just gonna take me some used to. Like I gotta get used to it because
Nah,
like
I don't like
they're
that shit.
they're trying to avoid tanking pretty much. Like if you are at least the 10th best team in your conference, you got a chance to be in the playoffs. that gives a team a lot of boost to be like, all right, let's get
It's
this.
working.
It
It's
got
working.
to.
No, look, like if you look at those teams in those ninth and 10th spot, well, these games matter to them, and they are fighting. Look at the Warriors.
And
Look
it,
at New Orleans,
and we dragging the fuck out of this regular season, and it was cut short by 10 games.
and we still like,
Mhm.
all right, we over it.
Yeah, we over the fuck. Like, just give us playoff basketball. To be honest,
Yeah.
like after the All Star break, really give us a month of regular season and just get right to the playoffs. Most of those teams are already locked up anyway. So let's
But
just,
Milwaukee beat Brooklyn again.
That's what I was gonna say. They beat them again.
hey, motherfucker, Giannis hit about what 4 threes?
I mean, he had a hot game.
I
He
don't
got
hear about
lucky.
that shit. Giannis
They
hits
over there.
about four
Without,
three
without
every.
James, without
Giannis
James
hits about
Harden,
four
though.
threes every 3 years, and then he's back to the postseason. Giannis.
Without James Harden playing, though, to me, it's still, it still ain't getting the full effect of what would happen with a healthy James Harden.
Can we talk about how KD dropped the 40 burger though?
Man, Katie is so
KD,
man.
KD is that type of nigga was like, nigga, are you really hurt or are you playing? Because this
I don't think he
motherfucker,
hurt.
He didn't even look concerned Sunday.
KD
Like he
is-
just was like, okay, he just went in, hit a couple shots, and then like even on the one that he missed, even on another one that he missed, he just looking around like it's just a game to him.
he was
Effortless.
he was
Effortless,
5 for
man.
7 with 40 points.
he
This nigga is the most fit, bro. This motherfucker is just
Yeah,
alien. He's
I
an
was
alien,
impressed.
bro. He's an alien. He literally is an alien, man. Like it's just not even. I mean,
And
what
it-
can you say about it? Like what
And
is
it's
it?
just all net too. It just
and then
It's
you add
beautiful.
Kyrie to him. It's just like,
Kyrie.
hey, that's shake and bake right there. That's they that's
Wh-
they
is
dictate.
Ramadan over
yeah.
for him? Is he done?
Man,
Ramadan ain't
Kyrie-
over till you gotta wait till the 12th. That's when
Well,
Ramadan
Kyrie's
over.
still,
'Cause
Kyrie's still
he
he never
well,
ceases
he
to
looking a
amaze.
little-
That dude do some crazy stuff.
What'd you say, Sheldon?
I said Kyrie never ceases to amaze. He's always doing something. Like, and you can't. Ain't nothing you can do with him. There's just literally nothing you can do with Kyrie.
Yeah, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm those were good wins. I think in terms of positioning. But yeah, without James Harden, it's hard to really kind of evaluate
And
that team.
I hope Philly secures that #1 seed and the Knicks get the #4, so we don't have to see Brooklyn in the second round. Because I'd much rather face Philly than Brooklyn. I don't give a damn what
Hey,
you
let me
say.
ask you a question, Nick. Speaking of the Knicks, this is a real question I thought about because I was looking at it. Do you really think that it's fool's gold, or do you think that they are a legit threat going forward, based off the team is how it's constructed now?
I think they are. It's hard to say because this is just legit year 1 of the Tibbs era. So we don't know what year. Like if this was year 2, I would say they look fully legit. I want to say they're fully legit, but I don't know if that's still more of the fan in me. But I will say that I have not seen us this stable in a long time. Like I know we had some good runs with the Melo years, but that always felt like it's all right. Whenever Melo gets older, it's a wrap. We have a young team. We're seeing like we focused. Shout out to the front office. You know what I'm saying? Like they have legit built a nice core around Julius Randle. We're building up RJ Barrett. Um, I will say that I'll go on a limb and say I think they are legit contenders. I think this offseason is going to be big for them. But as a Knicks fan, still, it's just like I don't know. This rug could get pulled under me as well. But I do see something that I haven't seen in a while.
I think it's legit.
I'm happy to see Derrick Rose playing so good.
Man, he was.
He's been balling. I think he's averaged at least like 20 points the last 5-6 games.
He still got it, man. In Spurs,
He really does.
In Spurs, he still got it, man.
Yeah, Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I think it's legit. I think it's legit. I talked about it on AGS this past weekend. I think it's legit. I mean, I don't think they're winning a championship, this season or anything like that. But I think you're starting to see now like a resurgence. They're building something. They kind of remind me of the Nets pre-KD. Remember that year with D'Angelo and Spencer Dinwiddie? Those young guys finally kind of arrived and we're taking that next step. This is what it kind of reminds me. I just hope I'm a New Yorker, so I'm always like I have my whole family is fucking Knicks fans, so I'm around them all the time. I just hope for the Knicks' sake, man. I just don't rush the process, man. Don't do no goofy shit like try to trade 6 first-round picks to go get Karl Anthony Towns or some dumb shit like that.
Nah, we gonna mortgage the future for my nigga Lillard and maybe Zion down the line.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what
Here we go. See,
I asked you. I asked you that for that reason too, because in the chat you were saying they shouldn't get rid of nobody for Lillard. Like, who did you say?
No, I said 3 players. All I care about is IQ, Julius, and RJ. Everybody else can go.
See, to me, everybody can go except for Julius. Like even IQ, even RJ for
You need
Dame
young
Lillard,
talent. You need young talent. You gotta
but
have young talent.
For Dame,
For Dame, what the hell is Dame gonna do with
and
nobody with him and
Dame
Julius?
Lillard and Julius Randle's winning you a championship.
Replicate Portland.
Exactly.
what I'm saying is, those keeping those guys over Dame, it it don't make sense to me. Like I don't think
You
nothing's
need
worth
depth.
keeping.
You even Q even said like, yeah, that's a good trade, but I still would need three and D guys. I would still probably need another star. Like you still gotta have a fucking
Right.
You
team.
still need the pieces because Dame
We
Lillard and
gotta
Julius Randle alone, that's not
Shelton
getting it done.
in the same
Yeah,
fucking city. We gotta face Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. We
but
can't
I'm
do that
saying
against with just Dame and Julius.
correct. But what I'm saying is keeping. If you're saying keep those guys and adding a Dame, yes, that makes sense. But if you're saying I stand pat with what I got and think I'm going to win more than bringing in Dame, you can't. That's what I'm saying. Like you got to bring. You still would need to bring in
As
to bring
long
in a player like Dame. To me, anybody can go.
to me, as
I
long
take.
as we don't mess up again,
I
I
don't think
like
Dame
what we
coming, by
got.
the way, but that's just me.
Yeah, but that was my thing. The only reason I thought about that was I was trying to think, like even watching the box scores and watching them play, they play great basketball, and I love watching the way they play right now. But I'm thinking like, if something does happen to Randall or if he's off, who's gonna step into that role right now? Is it RJ? Because I don't trust. I
RJ,
still
I
don't
think
trust.
RJ is
I don't
developing
trust
into
him.
that.
Yeah, he is.
I don't trust him enough
Is
though.
he there
I,
yet though? I
Not
don't
yet,
He's
but
not yet,
he's
but
gonna be nice though.
if he
Yeah,
keep
Yeah.
what school he
progressing,
go to? What school he went to?
I forgot.
but
But if he keep
but
progressing, it was blue and white. I think it was Kentucky,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
yeah, it was one of them.
Nah, I went Kentucky.
If he
but
keeps progressing like he is, again, just like Julius Randle, every year, get better at something.
Yeah,
You
Mm-hmm.
gonna get there. Like he already
yeah.
averaging borderline 20 points right now. He gets to like over 22,
He
23.
fills out the stats, the
Box score
Yeah.
too. He's an underrated passer. He can get boards. Like, come on. Like, I think that kid, especially with
He's
Tibbs,
scratching the surface of what he
Yeah.
can do.
man,
I'd argue he's still not even there yet. Like as far as a player, because I think he's still got another level to go.
he can still get his
So,
handles better. He can
yeah,
still
Yeah.
yeah.
his
He's
mid
more
range.
consistent with his jump shot. Like the sky's the limit for RJ, man. I just again with the Knicks, I just want them to make sensible, smart moves. I don't want them to mortgage the future, like trading quickly and a whole bunch of these pieces that you've worked hard to acquire to go out
Exactly.
and get a superstar. And even that may not even be enough to go get you where you need to be. To me, you build a team, and it may take 2 or 3 years to just continuously build a team. Plus, I don't see a situation like the Nets had where you're gonna have KD and Kyrie as free agents in the same offseason. So I don't see that. I don't see that next crop of like free agents coming where they're going to be there to play for the Knicks. At least right now, I can't tell. Maybe Dame Lillard if he forces his way out of Portland, which I don't see. I think they'll get rid of Terry Stotts before Dame Lillard leaves. Um, so I don't see that part. I mean, the name you constantly keep hearing around Knicks circles is Karl Anthony Towns, but
I
I
hope
think
not.
Karl,
I
I think
pray
Karl
that
Anthony Towns is overrated. My own personal opinion. Yeah, he's overrated. He the Puerto Rican Kevin Love.
Oh my God.
Oh
Hell
wow.
no. Speaking of Kevin Love, man, why isn't the media being critical on that nigga?
Because he white.
Mm. Damn, for once I ain't have to say it.
I mean, like you just some things are just like left unsaid. Like you don't even have to say it; it's understood already. Like because he's white. If LeBron would have
And
did
it's
that,
Cleveland.
If Russell Westbrook, and y'all know I have my issues with Russell Westbrook. If Russell Westbrook would have done that shit, they would have castrated that man. That man would have been hung the next day. But
In the same situation.
yeah,
In Cleveland where nobody cares.
See,
Yep.
that was really smart of him to kind of get out in front of his horrible play by saying, the mental health thing. That kind of, along with the fact that he's white, that saved him
which is a
from
fucking insult,
criticism.
by the way, because
It
now he's
is.
using mental health, which is a serious fucking thing to cover for the fact that he did a shitty ass move, and every fucking player on that roster should two-piece that nigga. Like that's fucked up. Like
Yeah, you
you
gonna beat
don't
up a dude with
care,
mental
and
health
you don't
issues?
want to, be here, and that's fine. But just own it. My thing is like, yo, just own it. Yo, I don't want to be here. I'm tired of being here. Like we're long removed from the days of LeBron and whatever and Kyrie. I don't want to be here. Just trade
When,
me, be done. Whatever.
when you guys
Say
say
that.
mental health, are you talking about when he said that stuff like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years
Yeah,
ago?
yeah.
Yeah.
So he didn't say it after he did the whole thing.
Oh, he didn't say it after that. I thought that's what he said.
No, no,
Oh,
no.
okay. I stand corrected.
The guy. He's one of those like pillars that say like him, DeMar DeRozan, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
are one of those guys like they came out early and like, look, I'll be dealing with some issues and shit. Please understand my situation and
Right.
respect it. Ever since then, that's when the NBA started talking about it. More and more athletes are coming out and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is that's the guys that he has. Like, so if you come at Kevin Love critically, some people might say, "Well, hold on, bro. He
You're
may be
attacking him.
going through
It's like
something."
Paul George. It's like
Yeah.
Paul George. Remember when Paul George tried to flip the
Yeah.
script?
Exactly.
But like,
Yeah.
don't
Yes.
attack me because I
Yeah.
was lonely in the bubble.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
Well, he's
Yeah.
lonely for wins right now. That's what he is. Like, you know, they left him. So, nah, man, that's that was bullshit. I mean, yeah, I get that because the mental health shit ain't got shit to do with what he did.
Yeah, he
No.
threw a temper tantrum. That was
Yeah,
it.
that's
That was
it.
it.
Yep. Yep. So nah, he don't get a pass for that. And I do agree with you because it's Minnesota. I mean Cleveland. They like, man, we don't give a fuck about that. Like,
That
who
that
gives a fuck
that
about
possession, I think it was a close possession, but that game ain't gonna change their
What are you
season.
telling? What are you telling every Cavs fan by that? Like, what are you telling Cavs fans that are
Well-
still paying their hard-earned money, that are still, watching and supporting this team or whatever? What are you telling them?
I think
you
that
got
is
a
an
guy-
actually good point, and I didn't look at it, and I'll probably have to go look. But how critical was the media in Cleveland or people that covered the team? If they gave Kevin Love a pass for that, then they need to look themselves in the mirror. But if they were
Yeah.
critical of him, because if anybody should be critical, it should be the local media,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. They
Yeah,
got
absolutely.
to
National media
Anybody in the
ass,
chat,
whatever.
anybody listening that's from Cleveland, let us know
Yeah.
because I don't know. Like, I don't know how critical they were. I know nationally, I didn't really see much critical. I saw
Because
like a couple people
nobody
getting
gives
on
a
them.
fuck about them. They're not winning, so it's not enough to kind of move the needle like that. But local media, like that's their job. Your job is to lay
And it's
into
Kevin
anybody.
Love. He's not considered like, at least not at this point anymore. He's not considered a superstar like a Dame or a LeBron or somebody like that. So I
Yeah.
feel like with him, it's probably different. He's just he's a disgruntled employee.
Yeah. At this
That's what
stage,
he's
it's
looking
Those are the
yeah.
ones that shoot up the spot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible, man. That was a bad look, man. Again, I feel, if I'm a Cavs fan, I'm pissed off. Like, yo, really? Like the dude that's making $20-30 million, who's stealing money, by the way, stealing money.
Hey, he lead the
Throwing a
league in
temper
steals,
tantrum on the
Manny.
court.
He lead the league in steals.
Man.
Speaking of his college teammate Russell Westbrook, why why your boy Scotty Brooks come out talking about he the second best point guard of all time?
God, I want to know how much the Westbrook family paid him to say that shit. Like, geez,
Man,
we got a kickback on that one. Jordan must have a Jordan check coming in the mail.
hey man,
Shit.
I ain't gonna say he's the second greatest of all
All
time.
right, look at him. What you about to say there? What you about to say?
Here comes Shelton with the
I'm
cap.
just gonna say, man, that man deserves his flowers this year because he playing ball, man, and he's consistently been doing it, and he brought that team out of the
Deserving
dirt.
flowers and saying you're the second greatest point guard of all time are two totally different things.
Well, if Draymond is the greatest defender of all time, I would argue.
Hey, Shelton, it's a difference between like getting the flowers you deserve and you buying a flower shop. And you become, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a whole difference.
I'm really interested in seeing what happens with the Wizards and whether or not they make the playoffs.
They making the playoffs, baby. It may not be 50 wins, but they making the playoffs.
And we long removed from that 50 win. We ain't forgetting.
Yeah.
Hey, Manny, for every wrong there's a right.
But that's just crazy though to think, and it's impressive. It should get more notoriety with how well he's playing and him filling up the stat sheet. Because somebody said, and I don't know who said it, but somebody that plays with him, I think it might have been Bradley Beal that said, I thought that he was just trying to fill up the stat sheet, but it turns out that's just really how he plays the game. So he's doing it consistently, not trying to do it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And this guy had a game where he had 24 rebounds and 20 assists, or vice versa, or something like that.
His energy is what, even more so than his talent, his God-given talent. It's just his energy. Like it's weird because the things that you love about Russell is the same things that you hate about Russell
Mm-hmm.
in certain situations. Because what you love about Westbrook is that no matter the game, he's a throwback in this regard. Like no matter the game, no matter the situation, you're gonna get he's gonna play hard. He's gonna give you 100%. Russell Westbrook is the type of guy on a back-to-back on a February night is gonna fucking ball out against the Kings or the damn Pelicans, no matter who he's playing. But in that same regard, that same thing that you love about him is the same thing that I think at times in postseason play or in big spots is what's gotten him in trouble. Where I think he just, in a way, he almost wants to win too much that he ends up fucking it up. Like sometimes you just don't need to just attack the basket. Like, no, step back, make the right play, pass it out to somebody that can't shoot. And he's just never really been able to fall back a little bit and maybe make the smart play in certain situations. But look, there's never been a debate about his talent. There's never been an argument about his talent. At least in this corner, at least in our circle, like there's never been a debate about his talent. Like we know how great he is. It's just again, you're judged on what you do in the big moments. And there's been times in his career, not every single moment, but there have been times in his career where he just hasn't delivered. And that and
Man,
if
we
you're gonna give him
supposed
the
to be
flowers for all
celebrating
his
this man,
greatness,
and
then
this
you gotta
man,
give
Bruh,
he
you
just
gotta
turned
yeah.
into like what he just started.
I'm being fair. Like
He
what,
just
what do you
started
want me to say?
shitting on Russell Westbrook.
Like he played for the Washington Generals or something, not the Wizards. Come
Nigga, he
on,
might
man.
as well play for the Washington. Nah, but for real, like what? But I gave this man flowers. I said the thing that you love about
Can
Russell
we just
Westbrook
give
is
him
that
the
he brings it.
flowers?
You
You're
gave that
right.
he gave that nigga a rose with thorns on it.
Never mind.
He
The
gave him the
man
flowers and
brings
then
it
he
every
stomped
night.
on the motherfucker.
Love his energy. Keep it up, Russell.
Oh man,
Keep doing the generational wealth.
I was waiting
I
for him
love
to
his energy,
stop,
but
and he
he
just
sucks.
kept going.
I didn't
You
say
would
that.
kept going like
I
Russell
did not
Westbrook.
say that. I did
Man,
not say he sucks.
let me ask you this real talk. Is Russell Westbrook a top 10 PG all time?
Yeah, I think you have to start putting him in that conversation.
You
I mean,
have to.
statistically speaking, yeah, you do. I mean, if you started, I mean, just off the top of my head, I mean, you got Magic, you got Isaiah, you got Steph, you got Oscar. No particular order. I'm just throwing names
Yeah.
out there. You got Jason Kidd,
Stockton.
Stockton, of course. Yeah, Stockton.
Chris Paul.
We said Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's,
Isaiah. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
okay.
said Isaiah. Chris Paul, Gary Payton. Yeah, I think you absolutely have to start throwing Russell Westbrook in that discussion for
Yeah.
sure. He ain't the second best, but he's definitely in the discussion in that top 10 somewhere.
I just want to. I know with what limited power we have, or what power we have, not limited. Wrestle back like this narrative, this negative, like conversation that always comes up with Russell with the media. That's generally started by Colin Cowherd. From people that anytime he does something, the first thing they go to is, oh, he's stat padding. And I know even some people in the NBA, like Bradley Beal, kind of echo those same sentiments. But if a guy that he's played with come up and like, okay, yeah, I thought that, but it's not that, then people should listen. But more importantly, it's okay to just kind of recognize the guy for being great at what he's doing in the moment among his current peers. Not everything requires a title for validation. Russell Westbrook's sole contribution, his contribution to the NBA history, the Hall of Fame, is to just come out and just do triple doubles. Sometimes that's just it. Not everybody's gonna win a title. That's just not what he was put on earth to do.
yeah.
We just like Lillard. Lillard's the same thing. Lillard's great, but Lillard's probably won't ever win a title. CP3, great. He probably won't ever win a title.
Right.
I think the difference though with Russell though is I think that he outside of having KD, he just hasn't sniffed the championship situation. I think that, and it's not his fault. It's not his fault. I'm not saying that's his fault.
Wait, whoa.
I'm just
What do
saying,
you mean?
I feel like
Wait, hold on, time out. Back that up. What do you mean? Back up.
outside of having KD, when he's been his own man, he really hasn't been in any championship situation, or at least being close. It's not like Russell Westbrook lost Game 7
That's unfair.
on his own to the Warriors, and he put up 50, 50, 50, and 12 or some shit like that. Like, damn, you can't even criticize him because hey, he balled out. He just fell short. Like
Man,
the
you saw
years he
those
was
teams,
the
bro.
years he was a solo man in OKC, they didn't get out of the first round.
Man, you know those teams though. You know basketball. You know those teams. You know those teams were not even championship
But that's why I just
contending
said
teams.
I'm saying to try to find a reason for the narrative around Russell. It's just that he hasn't been. I'm not saying I agree with this, and I'm saying that yes, it's not his fault because
Mhm.
those teams weren't at that level. All I'm saying is that the reason that there is that discussion is because he hasn't had these moments
But that's a
where he
silly
just fell
discussion,
short.
and we need to steer people away from that because they issue those blanket statements without looking at the OKC
Context.
teams minus
Mhm.
Yeah.
KD, without looking at they're gonna look at this Wizards team that's basically nothing and be like, well, but he didn't get out of the first round. Like
Right.
we have
And that's
to go ahead,
Mhm.
Shelton.
no. I was gonna echo that sentiment. That's the fair point. That you're making the point. That's right. That's the fair way to do it because this
Yeah.
Wizard team, this is a Herculean effort on a Wizards team that we didn't expect to win 10 games. You know what I'm saying? Other than
Mhm.
Nick, but for him to be even in the playoff discussion, even with the play-in, is incredible, and he's doing it night in and night out. He's making a difference, and he's getting better every game. So
Yeah.
to be honest, he's won me over. Like he really has this year.
Yeah, and guys like Stephen A. Smith, they'll be like, oh, we need to talk about titles. Well, how about we put him on a team that was as good as that OKC team? Like
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook is not the kind of guy like a LeBron, shit, or even a fucking KD that's going to be able to take a team defunct of talent to a fucking title. KD couldn't
Right.
do it. Steph Curry struggling to do it. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? They did it when they had guys around them.
They had to change the rules for Steph to get in the playoffs.
Say that.
If you want to get a
so
team.
that's
No,
that we
you're
gotta
right,
that,
Ken.
that
You're
same
right.
mold has to be applied to other guys as well. And Westbrook, like CP3 could be rightly criticized because he had some great fucking teams and blew it. So we can look
Yeah.
at him and be like, yeah, bro, you had a
Yeah.
shot.
Those
But
Clippers
Westbrook,
teams,
at
yeah,
least
absolutely.
Westbrook has played in the finals. like
Yeah.
like a lot of other these guys haven't. Lillard
Yeah.
hasn't. But Lillard hasn't had championship contending teams.
But then
So
And
let me
my
put
thing is, like I said, he's done something that we never thought we'd ever see in our lifetimes. We never thought. I know I didn't. I never thought I'd see someone average a triple double.
4 times in a row.
You know what I'm saying?
Or not in a row,
Like
but just 4 times.
right to average a triple double. Like I never,
so you
I
guys don't think
hear
so you guys don't think it's fair to bring up the lack of postseason success with
No,
Russell Westbrook?
I think that I don't think that's the end all be all for Russell
It's
Westbrook.
not,
Right.
but do you agree that it should at least be discussed?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
you could discuss it, but it shouldn't be
that's
the
what.
only thing discussed. Like
No,
his his
that's
career
not the
should be
first.
known for his MVP season and the fact that he broke Oscar Robertson's record 4 times.
Because
Yeah.
the way I look at it is like a QB in football that throws for 6,000 yards 4 straight years, but it's like, oh, your team finished 7-9 every year, so it's like
So you talking about Drew
great.
Brees?
To me, this is harder.
No,
Though.
but I'm saying like that. That's like that would be the equivalent of that. Like you know what I mean? Like damn, he statistically great, yeah, right on. But what's the receipt? Like what's the product of that? It's like if you went,
He did,
if
but
he threw for six,
He did play the in the NBA Finals, and we know that
but that
Finals
was
did
before
not.
he was putting up. But that was before he was really putting up these
But we
crazy.
doing,
gaudy
we doing a
stats.
resume. We doing a resume
Right.
thing. If we talking about his career holistically, if we gonna
Yeah.
mention his playoff blunders, we gotta also mention the playoff success as well. He was in the NBA Finals, and we know the NBA Finals. They probably the OKC should have won that series or made it at least more competitive if James
he-
Harden
And
didn't
he
fuck up.
outplayed KD in some of those games in that
Huh?
finals, from what I remember. He outplayed
Well,
KD.
I remember KD averaging like 30
Yeah,
something and
KD was
something.
good.
Like
It was KD and-
KD balled that
KD and
series.
Westbrook was, I think, if I remember correctly, we were getting off.
Westbrook
yeah.
had 35.
Harden
in
was
that
the
game.
fuck up. That's why
Yeah,
they let his ass go. Probably.
Harden was the fuck up.
I think
Yeah.
there was one team. I think that year that Utah put them out. I think that was one they could have won with Paul George.
Could have, should have won.
Yeah,
Should have
but
won.
but again, a lot of people didn't even think that OKC would even. Well, no, I think when they got Paul George, they thought they would get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
The year before they got Paul George, they didn't think they were going to make the playoffs.
Nah, when he
They
won that
did.
MVP season. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first year, yeah, the first
Yeah.
year. Yeah. That one I don't hold that much against them. I think the year they lost to Utah, and the year they lost to Portland, the infamous Dame game or the Dame shot or whatever. Those were the 2 years that you could look back and like, you could argue like that Thunder team had more talent than that Utah team, so there's no reason they should have lost that series.
Yeah, that's Paul
And
George.
even the
fault.
Portland series, like you could debate who had more talent, whatever. Yeah, those are
Yeah,
those are blemishes in his career. Like I think it's fair to bring up lack of postseason success. You're right. It's not the end all be all because I mean, like if we bring up the dudes from the '90s, right? Like we bring back Patrick Ewing, like oh yeah, Patrick Ewing never won a championship, but we never talk about how many times this motherfucker got right there and a shot or a block or something beat him that was totally out of his control.
exactly.
But we don't talk about those things. We just talk about oh he won a championship. Like Charles Barkley, to me, Charles Barkley is the best player to never win a championship. And look at all the things that happened in Charles Barkley's career that prevented him from winning a championship. Like he literally ran up against the GOAT and it took a fucking jump shot by John Paxson to beat him. Like, who knows? John Paxson misses that, goes to game
Yeah.
7, history's rewritten. We'll never know, right? So I agree. I think it is unfair sometimes when we judge athletes too much by successes and failures in the postseason. But I think it's that bargain you make with the devil. You know what I mean? For as much flowers and as much greatness as you get, for all the credit that you get when things are going great, yeah, when you don't win, I think that you should get some criticism. How much of that? I don't know. What's the fine balance there? But yeah,
We just got a lot of
I just think I just think it's incredible, man. To average over 20 and 11. He's the only player to do it. So it's kind of like it's just that's just remarkable to me. And as many times as he's done it, it's just mind boggling. I don't understand how you
I
can
agree
do
with you, Shelton. I think this year feels different. I have been shifted a little bit because this year does feel a little bit different. Because I was one of those that felt like it was stat padding. At least the first year in OKC, I thought that year when he was trying to win the MVP, I thought it was stat padding. But this year was different. This year, I don't know what it is about it, but this year just feels different. Maybe because I feel like he's not playing with the level of talent maybe that even those OKC teams had. I know he has Bradley Beal, so that was a little different, but yeah, I've been converted a little bit. I do think that you should still bring up the playoff failures. Like I think that's still a valid critique, but I do agree. What you're seeing with him is impressive.
He's the number one guy that I would probably pay money to see at this point.
Mm.
Well, number two, obviously, you know who my number one is, but yeah, like he plays hard. He play
LaMelo?
hard. He plays hard for Washington.
Yeah,
How many motherfuckers done? Gilbert didn't even do that.
John Wall didn't
Yeah.
do that shit. John Wall
yeah,
stayed hurt
no,
on
for real.
purpose.
And that's
for
what I
those
said
couple years.
earlier. Like the thing that you love about him is the fact that he brings it every single. Like there's no load management with Russell. Like
Nah,
if he's not playing, it's because he's hurt, or because
Mhm.
they've clinched a top 3 seed and they're up by 20 fucking games or something
I
like
think
that.
Bradley
Like,
Beal has missed more games than him this year.
yeah,
Yeah, like
man.
he plays every single night. It doesn't matter if they're coming off a back to back or they've played 3 straight nights. He's gonna play every night, and even if he doesn't play great, he's gonna give you a fucking hell of an effort each and every. That's what you love about him. That's what you
Yeah,
respect about him.
that's all you can ask too.
In a
So
league in an era that you don't get that every single night.
Mhm.
Kawhi Leonard.
Mm.
I mean,
I-
we
once
hey,
again,
the playoffs start, or at least the play-in tournament starts 2 weeks from today. So we gonna definitely have to talk about the seedings and stuff like that. As
Mhm.
they should look more stand pat by next week.
No, the Lakers will not be in it.
Mm.
Is that your declaration, or you just talking
That's
shit?
my declaration. I'm speaking into an existence. We not gonna be in that playing.
Hey, if the Knicks
As much
can
shit as I talked about that damn playing game, if the Lakers are in it, oh my god.
hey, they might face the Warriors in that
And
playing game.
They can lose that
and
game.
that
They
would
could-
scare the hell out of me.
And if
Yeah.
and
That
if
would scare the
Steph
hell out of
if
me.
Steph go off on LeBron and that's how he get out the playoffs, oh man,
It's all hell.
Can I drop a
I
hot
can't
take?
come here and talk
Can I
shit,
can I
kid.
drop can I drop a hot take?
What's that?
yeah,
If the Warriors clinch the 8th seed, I got the Warriors beating the Suns in the first round.
oh wow,
You can mark it down, write it down, take it down. Anybody chat, note it, all that. I'll take.
I'm
the
gonna
heat.
let you know right now, man. They are gonna get swept.
no,
It's gonna be a 3-game sweep.
The Warriors win the 8th seed, and it's either the Suns or the Jazz. I think the Warriors will win against the Suns or the Jazz. More so the Jazz than the Suns, but I'll pick them against.
Definitely not the Jazz.
Man, you should know your
Definitely not the
man.
No.
Jazz. Especially if they help this. If Donnie Mitchell there, he damn sure ain't losing to Steph.
You're crazy.
because he can cancel him out with
Well,
points.
don't say Steph. Don't say Steph because he's not gonna cancel out Steph. He's not
He
losing
gonna
to the
cancel out his production.
Because Steph gonna get his.
Steph gonna get fixed. Donnie gonna get his too.
Warriors in
He
6
ain't gonna
against
get
the
Steph.
Jazz or Warriors in 7 against the Suns.
They not beating the Jazz. I'll give you the Suns more than the Jazz.
Y'all can write this down. May 4th, 2021. I said it. I can take the
give you
heat if I'm wrong. Hell, if Nick can say the Wizards are gonna win 52 games, I can say that.
To be honest though, Manny, I don't think the Warriors are gonna get in.
Nah, they gonna get in. They gonna get in. They. I looked at it, Shelton. I looked at the standings, bro. They got like a 3 to 4 game head over New Orleans.
No. I mean they're not gonna win the play-in game.
You don't think they're gonna win the play-in game?
That's what I mean. Yeah. Because who are they playing? Who is the 9th? Because they're 10th.
Right now.
No, they're 8th.
They're the 8th seed.
Yeah, they're the 8th seed.
33 and 32.
So they're gonna play the 7th seed.
Well, they're only like a half game ahead of some team of Memphis, I believe, and I think they're a game and a half ahead of whoever the last is, Dallas maybe.
But how it currently sits, does the 17th seed play the 8th seed?
That's what I was gonna ask. So if so right now, as if the playoffs ended today, Nick, you can answer this question. So it'd be Trailblazers, Warriors, the 7th and the 8th, and then Grizzlies, Spurs, then the 9 and the 10.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And then the winner of those two will play each other for the right to win the AC, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's complicated as fuck.
So Trailblazers, Warriors in one game to get in. Steph versus Dame.
Steph. That's the thing that the play-in tournament gives you, man. You ain't getting that anywhere else.
That's why it's worth it.
That's true. The only thing that I don't like about it is like we've talked about this many times in basketball, right? Like you just don't have those moments like you have in football where you could see the Warriors beating like the Lakers, the top seed, and then they make a run to the finals. Like it would mean more if you could really see like, yo, if who knows, the Trailblazers get out of this playing series and they make a run to the finals. Like you're not seeing that. At least I don't. Not every year.
This season with how many injuries have been thrown out there and how many people have switched teams. Hey, look, it's all. I think this is the most up for grabs.
Lakers and Manny, the reason why what you're saying though is why it's that way. Because look, think about it this way: like if it did end today, that Warriors Blazers series would be more interesting than the 8 versus 1. So that play-in is more important. You know what I'm saying?
I think this year is actually the 8th versus 1 seed is actually going to be interesting because again, Phoenix has never been at this level. Now Phoenix is going to have some pressure that first couple games in that playoff series. Like, yo, they're going to be playing a Warriors team that's got nothing to lose. Two guys who have won championships that have been at the highest of levels. Like, I've never seen Devin Booker in a playoff game. What if they lose game 1? Now they're down 0-1 in that series. Like, that's a different pressure than Phoenix is used to. Even Utah. For as great as Utah has been over the last couple of years, Utah has never been the top dog. They've always been the team trying to beat the top dog. Now they're in a situation where they're the top seed. Now all the pressure's on them. What if they lose the first game? What if they go down 0-2 in the series?
I trust Utah way more than I trust Phoenix.
That's what I said. I trust Utah more than I trust Phoenix. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because to me, Devin Booker ain't even the best player on his team. He'll even tell you that.
All right. Well, we thank you guys for.
Oh, we have one more super chat, Ken.
Okay.
Tigolo said, Marcus Smart sucks. So, hey man, speaking of the Celtics, did y'all see that when they hit legs the other day? Tatum and
I saw that.
I saw that
stupid shit.
Are they really hurt, man? Because I saw it when it happened. Jaylen
Brown. Yeah, he was fucked up. Tatum was, he was able to walk it off, but Brown was fucked up.
Yeah, so I don't know how long they're gonna be out.
Yeah,
well, it don't matter now.
Celtics just can't get out of their own way, man.
But shout out to Tatum on that 60 piece, though.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Superstar.
Yep. Q. That was for Q.
We ain't talk about the Eastern Conference, the playing series in the Eastern Conference.
Man, ain't nobody worried about that. Damn, that's the tournament that nobody give a fuck about.
Oh man.
Oh man.
All right. Well,
We do care because the person you said you said the one person you want to see most of all is in that play in.
whew.
Who? Russ?
LaMelo. That's who his number. He said Russell was number
End it
two.
now,
So we know
Ken. End it
LaMelo's
now.
number one.
Nobody gives a
Cut his
fuck
mic off.
about Lamelo.
We know LaMelo number one. Y'all better check them stats.
Number one,
LaMelo
what?
killed him tonight.
Outside of the Carolinas and the family house, don't nobody give two shits about LaMelo right now.
Maybe
No.
maybe
Listen.
Michael Carter Williams.
Listen, man. LaMelo is on Sports Center every night making a super play.
Melo is overrated. Lamelo. Lamelo is
LaMelo
overrated.
had 23, 7, and 6 tonight in the
Nah,
big
he ain't
That's fine.
overrated, man.
They gonna-
His brother does that
Shelton,
shit.
But
Shelton.
Shelton love him some
Hey,
LaMelo, man. Hey, man,
but
listen.
no, speaking of the ball, seriously though, I didn't realize. I think that last week was the first time that Lonzo had 30 points in a game in his career. Did y'all know that?
I didn't care to know it, but
Me
yeah,
either.
I guess.
I'm just thinking though. I would have
I
thought
didn't know
he
that,
would've
no.
That's a fart in the wind stat to me, Shelton.
I mean, congratulations. You know, I
No,
think
no,
Congratulations
no,
for
I'm
what?
saying-
I
He
feel
an
like-
NBA player. He's
That was
supposed to.
the
He's
pettiest-
supposed to
that
score
was the pettiest
points.
congrats
what
ever,
I'm saying was,
Ken.
I would have thought he would have done it by now. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking that was shocking.
Why would
to
you
me,
think that?
yeah, he's never really been an
because he's
offensive.
talented. He has more talent.
It's one of those.
30
It's one of those
points?
misnomers. It's one of those misnomers. Like he probably had like 29.
Chris
I know
is
I know for a fact
talented?
he had like 27 or 29 in the game before, but you know, he just
I
didn't
would
get that 30.
have thought at least I would have thought he would have at least had one 30-point game by now.
He a bust. It's
Whoa,
fine.
Bust.
He a bust.
Yeah,
Listen, we
he's
ain't-
right there.
We ain't
If
even
your
gonna
team-
go down
if
that
your
con-
team
we
You
ain't
don't
gonna
think
go
so,
down that
man?
rabbit hole.
If your
Man,
team
you-
trades you before year 3, you a bust.
He's on the brink.
I thought he would. I
Brink?
thought he would get it. I thought he would
So
secure his.
he's a bust, and what is Markel Fultz then?
Oh, I've been saying he was a bust.
Oh, he's
you
a
must.
super
You got to
bust.
go back to the tapes. I thought that nigga was garbage.
He's super bust to me too.
Nah, Ball's not a bust. He's not as good as his number 2 selection, but he's
That's a bust.
he's-
If you ain't
Nah,
good
that's
as
not
where
a
you
bust.
got
Because he's
drafted
still
at, you a
very-
bust.
but he's still a very good player.
He
What
ain't
I'm
no
saying
very
is,
good
it should have been the
shit.
number. What?
He
We just
ain't-
had a conversation like 2 months ago about whether the Pelicans should trade him or not.
Yeah,
So
and the fact that
clearly-
and I was saying the fact that he already in trade talks again before his rookie deal up, he about to get traded twice.
He's had a good season. He can play the game. He's just not
That's what I'm saying. That's not a bust.
that. I mean, but Ricky
Who-
Rubio can do the shit.
Yeah,
What
that's
makes
what I'm
you a
saying.
bust?
You ain't.
Get out of here.
I think you're a bust if you don't live up to your expectations and what they expect you to be.
To me, a bust is like you just don't pan out. You're not a player. You're not a player in the NBA. Lonzo Ball is a player in the NBA. Now we could argue should he have been the number 2 pick or the
This is
10th
what-
pick? Yeah,
He
whatever.
got he got that little Laker feelings for him. He got empathy for this nigga. Nah,
You know,
Lonzo
he-
was
hey, Lonzo
Magic
coming back.
Johnson sat.
Lonzo-
Magic Johnson was
Lonzo-
like this, man. He was like, this nigga right here. He gonna, hey, his jersey gonna be on the rafter.
He
Where
gave
his
him-
jersey
so
at?
you
now?
saying
They
he
gave
gave him the rock chain?
They
gave
gave
him
him the they gave him the Blake Griffin special.
him
They
the
said you gonna
Rockefeller chain.
retire
Hey,
your ass here.
but you know what?
They
though,
shipped
Tippy?
him out next week.
You know what? though? They probably called Randall a bust for a while though, so we can't
Nah,
really say he's a
Julius.
bust quite
Nah,
yet.
I knew. I'll say this as a Laker fan, and I'm not saying it because it's revisionist history. I hated Julius leaving because I knew Julius was capable of this. He just needed consistency and a team to believe in him.
Yeah,
that was
I
that was
agree.
the only thing Julius needed.
But up until now, would you not say he underachieved?
Nah, hell
No.
nah.
No,
He-
he's fine. No, Julius, like people are acting like this is the only year Julius has ever done it. This is the only year he's done it consistently
Talk
for
about
an
it.
82 game clip.
Talk
But
about it.
Julius has been a baller for years, bro. He just has never really put it together.
Yep.
He's like that. Again, I use a baseball reference. He's like that pitcher that'll go out there and strike out 15, and then the next game he'll get bombed for 5 runs. He's never had that full consistent year where it's like, all right, Julius is giving me 20 and 10 every night.
Right. So that's
Now-
what I'm saying. So in most cases,
Mm.
that's what makes him an anomaly is the fact that he did recover to become.
And he's gotten better though. He's gotten progressively better each and every year, barring injury. Last year, I know he had a little bit of a struggle, but I know he was hurt a lot too, and just didn't. And then, the coaching staff didn't believe in him. Again, a team that believed in him, the opportunities, and his own progression in his game. That's all he needed. Julius was going to do this. You talk to real Laker fans, they would tell you this. Julius was legit.
They call him
Oh
King.
yeah, No, he was legit. I agree that he was legit. I liked him at Kansas and I mean not Kansas, Kentucky, and on up. I felt like he was going to be a baller. I just felt like he kind of underachieved because I felt like he was going to be this.
And
much
remember,
earlier.
he had a serious injury his rookie year. He only played.
he broke his
like
leg.
10 minutes. Broke his
Yeah,
leg.
I remember that game too. That was scary.
I remember that shit. I was like, damn, we picked this nigga 7th, and he broke his leg
Yeah.
10 minutes into his
And
first
he-
game. Like shit.
He was playing pretty good that night too. Them 10 minutes he had a good.
He had a good 10 minutes.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
Had a
Hey, they
spark when he
call him
started,
King
man.
Julius in New York. That's what you got to refer him as.
Yeah.
All right, man.
I
Well,
agree.
we're gonna get out here for real this time. Y'all got
Nice.
some extra shit tonight. But yeah, FIFO should be back Thursday. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure Q will be here, and yeah, and we'll be back Thursday. So we'll catch you guys then. We out. Peace.
Peace. Tariq Pittman had a super chat, but he retracted it. So thank you for the super chat, Tariq.
Check already cleared. Nah, thank you for the super chat though.
He said Nick said this like Julius Randle didn't develop into an all-star after 2 stops before. Also, this is a Laker fan who saw him from the start. Man, I remember at Kentucky, boy, Julius Randle was a monster.
He was a beast. No,
Oh
I
my
just feel like
God.
when people acting like Julius Randle, like this has just been the only year that he's done this. Like this was
Hey,
a
man.
Cinderella story.
Hey,
like, yo, Julius
was that super chat?
Yeah, I think that was the last one. That's what he said after he retracted whatever he was trying to say. Hey, Manny, do you think that Julius Randle was better